It's your boy, Jada King Hefner, and the beautiful Saima Renee Uzumaki. And we're back again for another show. And the title of this episode is Dream Waves. Dream Waves. And what do I mean by that? We'll get to that right about now. Hey, yeah, baby. What up? What up? What up? It's your boy, Jada King Hefner, with the beautiful Saima Renee Uzumaki in tow. And of course, I've decided to do a surprise unplanned live stream once again. I'm getting sort of addicted to it. And I really enjoy doing my live streams and just popping in whenever the hell I feel like it. So I'm glad for anybody watching right now. I'm glad you're here with me. And for anybody tuning in later, I'm glad you're here with me. I'm coming late at night on my end, or I say this, early in the morning. Because, excuse me, it's a little bit past 12:30 where I am. So some people may not be up right now. But wherever the hell you are, if you're getting an eye shot of this and an ear shot of this, I'm so glad you are with me and the beautiful Saima. And we're pulling a solo run tonight. Just a one-on-one, me and her with you guys. Callie, she's over here laying down. She's always somewhere close. I don't give a damn which one of my ladies out. Callie is somewhere around, unless she's getting prepared for a bath. So she's over there chilling, and the rest of the girls are doing their thing. But I decided to come to you guys tonight, man, because I really want to do something a little bit more active. But it got unseasonably cold, in my opinion, over the last day or so. And me and the girls couldn't make it out yesterday. So I said, I got other shows that I want to do. But once again, let me just check in live on a Saturday morning before all the festivities start for whatever you guys have planned for the day. Because there's a lot of things going on this weekend. And I'm going to have to break that down in a second. But I want to explain what the title of today's show is. Dream Waves, baby. Dream Waves. What do I mean? Well, excuse me, hold on. Sorry, guys. But what happened is I did a review on the movie Stepford Wives recently. If you haven't seen that review, you can check it out. It's my most recent video right before this live stream. I was really motivated to do this show from watching that movie. But it's been other things that have also motivated this show as well. So if you haven't watched Stepford Wives, 1975, that's definitely something, if you're a dog owner, that you may be interested in giving a look. I promise you now. I sort of explained things in my last video about how it's not going to be all these damn explosions and super what am I thinking about? All these graphics and things of that nature. You're not going to see all this CGI technology and all that type of stuff in a 1975 movie. But what they don't have and all that pomp and circumstance, they make up for in just straight up bad ass acting. So, wait a minute. I'm sorry, guys. Every time I do this show, it's something going on with my nose, and it's doing it again. It's something going on with my nose where either it's like a feather or a piece of hair or something landed on it. So it's just crazy. Once again, I love my animals. I love my animals, but the one thing that you're gonna have to deal with when you got animals is just all type of crap just floating through the damn air. I don't care how much you vacuum clean or whatever. It's gonna be some type of pet dander, a piece of fur or something floating through the damn air. And I believe that's what's been getting me lately every time I get on these live streams. But let me just jump into it a little bit. I'm finna check the comments just to make sure. Okay. Just to jump into the dream waves concept. After I watched Stepford Wives, man, I just started thinking like, man, that was 1975. Whoever wrote that had no real concept of the modern companion dog as we know it right now. I'm talking about right now. Because in 1968, going back to my history video, my last live stream, in 1968 was the first year that the United States allowed any type of what they term as sexual devices to be sold through the mail. So that was 1968. And the normal, average, everyday blow-up doll, the very beginning of the companion dolls, as far as it definitely had taken, even the blow-up doll had taken a step up from where it had been, other than what Germany had done. But to make a long story short, things were just opening up around 1968. And they didn't know anything about the type of dolls we have right now. They didn't know that was going to exist back then. That's all they had was blow-up dolls, pretty much. And somebody formulated the concept and dream for the movie The Stepford Wives, 1975, where basically it was a city of families, and the husbands had basically traded their wives out. And this is a spoiler alert if you haven't seen the movie, but they traded their wives out for robots, basically androids to a certain degree, exact replicas. And I was like, man, that's a hell of a dream to have, hell of a concept to come up with. Now, I don't like socially how some of that concept got taken by society. Because like I say, I do believe that the Stepford Wives 1975 it played a part in being ground zero for the way the stigma of companion dolls is looked upon. Because you have to think, with UFOs and aliens and things of that nature, it wasn't this big scare until the broadcast of the War of the Worlds. And honestly, I don't even know the exact date or anything. I just know after the broadcast of the War of the Worlds, it sort of sent everybody into a frenzy, because when they heard that broadcast, they thought it was real. They thought Earth was being invaded for real. They didn't believe that it was just a broadcast. So after that broadcast and they got people calmed down and things of that nature, it still was a stigma left behind about aliens and them taking over the world and being evil and all this type of thing. Well, even though, like I said, I did the history of companion dolls once again on my last Dog King Power Hour. Even though there were things in history that led up to the Stepford Wives, the story of Pygmalion from a poem written by a guy named Ovid, that was like the first story companion dolls. Then you had a period of where people were getting used to touching statues and things of that nature. Then you evolve all the way up through a time where sailors were using cloth dolls as companions on the sea. And then you evolved all the way through a time where Germany basically made the modern companion dog. But it was for war purposes. It wasn't like it was a dog that was being sold around the world. It was Germany using those dogs for their army to keep them from catching STDs. So it wasn't like it was a big popular thing. That was in 1941. Then you fast forward all the way to 1975. Those German dogs weren't being sold in the United States or anything like that. It was the blow-up variety that I hinted at. So somebody with just having a blow-up dog floating around out here came up with the whole concept of the android robot taking over and things of that nature. And that's what I said. That dream was amazing. So you probably still saying, I understand what you're getting at about the movie, but what the hell are you talking about dream waves? And that's what I'm so happy to be on the live stream for, because guess what? I can just let it go, take my time, and tell you exactly what the hell I mean. And what I mean by dream waves is somebody made that movie and sent that idea out into the world. Not only the natural world, but the spiritual world, but the spatial world. In the universe in totality, they sent this dream out. And we all do these things all the time. Because God places a dream in our heart, and all the time we don't choose to follow that dream. We may talk about the dream, but we may not follow it. But as soon as you open your mouth, and that's the power of words and speaking the right thing. But as soon as you open your mouth, it becomes alive. Whatever that dream is, it becomes alive. And I'm learning more about this every day, but it becomes alive. And it starts to travel out into the spaces, out into the space of the world, and like I said, the universe, spirit world, all these things. And it becomes real. Now, if you don't grab a hold of it, somebody else will at some point in time. So that's what I was talking about, dream waves. And I was thinking about like light waves, how fast they are, sound waves, because light waves are supposed to be faster than sound. Am I right? Or is it sound that's faster than light? I think light is faster than sound, if I'm not mistaken. But I remember I'm only slightly confused on it because when I think about my comic ways, I always think about how Superman is faster than a speeding bullet. And I just keep on thinking like speeding bullet, sound, but now light. I think light is faster than sound. Let me do a look before I continue. Because I'm getting to a point here. Let me do a check on there to make sure, because I think I'm right. It is. Hey, I'm just glad I'm up right now to do this show, because look, man, I set the show up to do it, and I promise you, I looked up and it was damn showtime, and I was still laying my ass right in the bed. Okay, light waves or sound waves. And I already know that I gotta be right, man. Gotta be light waves. We can travel back and sound wave require material meters to travel, hence cannot travel. Right, okay. So I am right. Light waves are faster. I mean, I'm just going to make sure, because it did. Yeah. Hey, look, I done went quiet because I'm trying to make sure. I'm trying to make sure. Okay, beautiful. I was right, but I just want to make sure I was right about light being faster than sound. So with all that said, I was thinking like, okay, light is also faster than a dream wave, so to speak, if you just measured it in speed. But it cannot last as long as a dream wave, because a light wave exists only in our natural plane right here. But a dream wave can go through time. It can travel through time. That's why it's more powerful, in my opinion. Because once you speak a dream, let's say you don't grab a hold of it, it's still going to exist in the universe. It may travel through years and years and years until it hits somebody and it wakes up in them. But believe me, it's going to still travel once it's spoken. And that's what I found out. And that's what gave me the idea for this show about dream waves, because somebody had an idea of what an android might be like in their mind and things of that nature, and they wrote that movie. Never knowing that in 2022, with the way they're doing face scans to come up with 3D printed limbs to get them prepared to make androids and things of that nature, full body robots, full body companions, that is really going underway right now. I don't know if I'm going to be alive or any of you are going to be alive when it's complete. Because technology, it takes longer than you think it does. It's fast and it's slow, sort of just like life is. They tell you we're going to be floating in the air in 20 years. It may be 200 years. We may think that's a long time, but 200 years really is a blink of an eye. It's not even a blink of an eye as far as the universe is concerned. So it's not that long, but we may not see it. But we're going down that route right now. And somebody that wrote that movie, who probably wrote that and was like, man, this is far out. Yeah, man, this is some crazy stuff. Yeah, well, they'll never be able to really come up with something like this. Well, they are on the verge of coming up with that idea right now. Full walking around robots with AI technology. You know, it's slowly but surely getting there. All due to a dream wave that just continued to reverberate through time. And we've seen this with a lot of things, like even the airplane. At one point, somebody said it was crazy to think that somebody was going to get, especially something with metal in its construction, to fly. You know, that was thought to be completely impossible, but nobody thinks about it being impossible when they jump on the airplane. Not a one person. Everybody just get on their airplane and they're flying. So, hold on. Oh, I wrote some other stuff down here. People get on the airplane and they're flying. They don't think about the fact that it was supposed to be impossible. Just like me sitting here with all these lights on, so you guys can see me and the beautiful Saima sitting next to me. A lot of people want to give Thomas Edison that credit, but I don't. You know, I give it to my guy, Nikola Tesla, because he was the one who helped Edison. He was under Edison, and Edison used, I forgot, about 18 of his patents or more to get the light bulb to work. Then he fired the man because I think it was something about he didn't pay Tesla what he deserved, and either he fired him or Tesla quit. But make a long story short, Tesla ended up creating alternating current after that. And it's really energy as we know it today. every power plant in every power plant in the world should be using alternating current, not direct current, which is the current that Edison came up with, direct current. If we were all using direct current, it would be wires all over the sky. We wouldn't even be able to see the sun without the damn wires we would be having to use using direct current. And then I think it would have to be damn a power plant every couple of blocks or some crap like that. But Tesla, he came up with alternating current, and now the whole world is just lit up with lights. All because of dreams that were in his head. All because of dreams. Look at where we are now. It has sparked all type of stuff since he's been gone. There are other things. If you think about, and I didn't get all the things I wanted to get set up before the show as far as my research was concerned, but I could still talk about it in general. And another one of those things, automobiles. At one point, when somebody was riding around on horseback and there was no cars anywhere to be found, somebody had to think about an engine, how it would run, how it would be powered. And I'm sure the first time, and it was Ford. I think it was Henry Ford. Matter of fact, I think it was Henry Ford that came up with the first gas-powered car. Because now that I think about the story, I think it was some about Edison was the guy that encouraged him, even though Edison ripped off my guy Tesla. But supposedly Edison was the guy that encouraged Henry Ford to keep going, because people were calling him crazy. But he had to dream about that. It's not one person out in the world right now that's thinking that an automobile is a crazy idea. It's something we all supposed to have. That's what we think. Even though we all know it was a time when automobiles weren't around, you really don't think about that. When you jump in your car every day, you're thinking like they always existed. No, they didn't. They were a dream. And with these dreams, sometimes you can go ahead and act upon it. Sometimes you may not. But, a lot of times, like I told you, these dreams keep going. Somebody's going to fulfill it. It may not be in your time. It could be 3 generations ahead. But it's going to catch somebody. And somebody's going to develop their dream. I just think about a toilet, for instance. My grandmama always tells me this story about how she used to have to use the bathroom outside when she was growing up, because they didn't have an inside toilet. People didn't have inside toilets when she was growing up. If you had an inside toilet, you were well-to-do. They were like just, as she was coming up, they were just being implemented. And she said, man, I remember the first time that I saw a toilet on the inside, it just blew my mind. She said it just really blew her mind to see that you didn't have to go out to an outhouse and use the bathroom in a hole somewhere. And of course, I say this. When she was little, she said something about, man, I just dreamed of having a home that had a bathroom on the inside. That's all she wanted, was a bathroom on the inside. And I was just thinking like, man, once again, how lucky we are to all have bathrooms, running water on the inside of our homes, but it's taken for granted. You just wake up thinking like, oh yeah, I'm finna go to the sink. Man, it's a luxury. Oh, I'm finna go to the bathroom. It's a luxury that people didn't have at one point. So somebody had to think at some point, man, how do I create a toilet that can be inside the house without stinking it the hell up? How is it going to get removed from the house? And so when you start incorporating toilets and stuff, then you got to start incorporating plumbing. It's just so many ideas and dreams that have to be generated. And then somebody has to follow through on the dreams. And so I brought all of that up to say, man, you know, Stephen Wise blew me away from that standpoint. It was like, dang, man, they didn't even know it. But we are at the point that they were imagining about. You know, we ain't all the way there, but we're on the verge of being all the way there. So that's really why this video was inspired, from things of that nature. Just dreams and how they continue to travel through time, no matter what. And then they begin to get fulfilled. And like I said, I was like, man, 1975, there's no way that they thought companion dogs would be like they are now. You know, like they are now. But I know one thing. Another thing I want to talk about was in a movie, which I didn't really get a chance to break all the way down in my review. And if you haven't seen that movie, this is once again a spoiler. But in that movie, they depicted the dog owner so wrong. And that's 1975. The dog owner really didn't exist, but I'm saying that's why we're getting. I think that movie played into our stigma because of this. They made that movie a horror movie. They made it a horror movie. And I'm telling you, acting is good in those older movies. So they even had me in suspense, as I said in the review. But the biggest thing about that movie was they talked a lot of the things that I talk and other dog owners talk about, how, man, this life is easier on you. It's not as stressful. And they don't say it quite in those terms, but it's brought up at a certain time. But the part that would skew a person, especially back then, was they had you killing your wife off or your mate and then replacing them to the T. And that's something that would really scare the viewing public in 1975. Because once again, that's an audience that doesn't even have any concept of the modern day companion dog that we're looking at today, or the ideas of androids and how we would interact with them. So if a lot of people watch that movie and it sparked their first thoughts of what an android might be like, then I know it scared the hell out of a lot of women at the thought of, okay, somebody could try to kill me off and replace me with one of these robot things. And I was just thinking, like, you know what? Just that little scare could play into the whole stigmatization of companion dogs. Just that little scare right there starting to reverberate through everybody's mind. Because you have to think about it. Immediately when people, a lot of people see companion dogs or anything close to it, a lot of people sort of get weirded out in a way. And I think, once again, sometimes you don't even know why you get weirded out or why things bother you. Some things could just be in your blood, so to speak. Not even from how you've lived, but just coming through your lineage. So if this fear of robotics or companion dogs sort of already was boosted in the American public, well, as the generations go on and kids are getting born, subconsciously, that fear is somewhere still there in the lineages of kids being born after their time. This is just me thinking about it. And so I'm like, yep, I believe it really played a part in how we're getting stigmatized today. I really do. Because that's not how we think. I know that's definitely not how I think, as far as I don't think in the concept of, yeah, I want to kill off my girlfriend and replace her with the companion dog. No. That ain't my mentality. You know, that's not my mentality at all. Or it's almost like saying, hey, I want to kill off the woman so I can dumb her down. No, I don't want to do that. See, the thing is, this is an alternative, like I've said before. This ain't no ending of women. This is an alternative. So for the people who still want women, human women, they can date a human woman. But for people who do want a simpler, more life where you're living in your own fantasies and imaginations, where you can bring some of those things to life in your own world and sort of make the perfect home for you with a synthetic human. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just an alternative lifestyle. That doesn't mean that the human women are going to go without mates. Because like I said, it's always going to be a human man that want a human woman. So that whole concept of getting rid of a human woman, and replacing them with a robot, especially by killing them, is something that does not exist in the average, because I don't know what everybody thinks, but I know the average person's mind, ain't nobody thinking about trying to kill somebody and replace them. Even Saima, she has a name like a girl I had a crush on, but she doesn't look exactly like that girl. And I even told this story before. When I say her name, she's not the girl whose name Saima. She is her own self. She is her own self. I don't even think about that girl when I call Saima's name. I don't think about her. Saima is her own person. I do know of people that have gotten dolls made similar to a past girlfriend or something like that. There's nothing wrong with that. Because once again, you're not killing somebody off and then making a replica of them like it was in the movie. So people that's scared of getting killed off and replaced and all that stuff, they can stop worrying about that. That's not what us doll owners are thinking about. I know it's a lot of people who have said, man, yeah, dolls are going to replace humans. And I said, no, they're not going to replace them now. I just don't believe that. They're not going to replace them. Even if it got to a point where it was the majority of people dating synthetics, it would still be a nice, healthy amount of people still dating human to human. So that's basically my point. You're not gonna just, unless some type of crazy law in the distant future comes around where they forbid you from dating a human. Now that'll be crazy. Where they was like, you know what? Hey, and you never know what type of governmental controls can happen in the future. You just never know with the way things going. But it could be some time, look, in the year 4000, where they was like, you know what, we're not taking chances on catching anything because this world is so germophobic right now. They might be like, you know what, we don't want to take a chance on catching anything. So to keep everybody completely sterile, which is honestly not a good idea, because then you can catch the common cold and die if you're a sterile person. You're not coming in contact with anything. But they could go to a world like that. Because I forgot what movie I saw where everybody was sterile on this movie. I can't think of what movie that was. But they could say, hey, man, you can only be with your companion dog. I wouldn't be mad. Look, I wouldn't be mad because I look, that's the lifestyle I'm already. I wouldn't be too mad about that governmental order. And a lot of us that have dogs wouldn't be mad about their order. But I tell you, I am like this. Hey, I'm cool with stuff until you just try to make me, I don't want to be forced. I don't want to be told what I can't do in that regard. You see what I'm getting at? So even I wouldn't like it. Like I was telling somebody about making love to my girls. I may not make love to my girls, but I'll be damned. I like the option that I could if I wanted to. Luke jumping around everywhere tonight. What up, Luke? So like I said, man, mine just going a lot of different ways. I said I'm gonna just drop in, have me a little fun. This weekend there's a lot of little sports going on. And so that's something I want to bring up as well, because I think we got a Grizzlies game coming on tonight. It's not worth a damn because it's the end of the season and people ain't playing worth a damn right now. They ain't giving they all. But it's something I'm going to look at. And then it's a big time UFC fight tonight. I'm trying to think. I think it's a guy named Volkanovski, and he's a damn good UFC fighter. So me, Saima, Callie, I think it's just going to be us three. Just going to be checking out sports tonight because the other two girls probably won't make an appearance till maybe Monday. I'm thinking Tsunade will probably come out soon. Her and Asana, they're back resting right now. So it'll just be us three checking out some sports. And also, I don't know if you guys really like UFC, but I tell you this. What's her name? Shevchenko. Oh, yeah. Valentina Shevchenko. She's going to be defending her title. And that woman is badass. She is badass. I used to always say she was second to, what's my girl that just got beat? I can't think of her name. The one, either way. I can't think. Look. It's slipping me right, but the Lioness, that's her name. The other UFC fighter who been beating people's butt for years and years and years. She even beat this fighter called Chris Cyborg, who literally Chris Cyborg can beat a lot of guys. What's my girl? I can't think of her name. Oh, is it Rodrigo? Maybe it'll come to me. But either way, Shevchenko was only second to that fighter, the girl I'm trying to think of. But she lost recently. The one I'm thinking about, she actually lost recently. So, truth be told, Shevchenko should be the #1 rated female UFC fighter in the world right now. So, I'm definitely interested in seeing both of those fights tonight. Those are going to be awesome. Those are going to be awesome. Watch a little NBA basketball. And of course, Tiger has made his comeback to golf. And me and the girls, we aren't big golf fans, but we're sports fans. So we always keep up with the latest sports and things of that nature. And so we're going to keep our eye on Tiger to see what he does. Because it's a miracle that he's even out there. It's a miracle that he's even out there with the wreck that he had. And I was telling my brother this. When I see him, I'm only frustrated from the standpoint of, and I'm not literally frustrated, but just as a sports fan, I'm like, man, this guy should have smoked Jack Nicklaus in majors championships by now. He should at least have 5 or 6 over Jack Nicklaus by now. Because I think, and it's just me just going off the wham. I haven't done any searches. I'm thinking it was like 2009 or 10 or something like that. And I could be wrong, but I think it was around that time when some of this stuff went down with him, with his wife and having that first car wreck and sort of throwing his life out of whack when they exposed him for sort of being unfaithful and all that type of stuff. But he never was right after that. I think he got like one major after that. And he was on a hellish streak before that, as far as he was really projected to pass Jack pretty soon, and it all got derailed. It all got derailed, and after this last wreck, it's just amazing that he's back. God bless the man. I want anybody to live their dreams. Anybody to live their dreams, and as humans, we all have our problems. Rich, poor, or in the middle. Everybody has certain things they have to get past in life. And he certainly has his things that he has to get past, but he's making a comeback in the Masters this weekend. And that would be an amazing story for him to win, because I heard his leg got grafted and all type of stuff had to happen for him even to be walking again. So I'm really hoping he get a couple. You know what? It'd be amazing. For one, it'd be amazing for him to just win one major again. But if he was to find some way to just over the next, let's just say 5 or 6 years, just scrape out and barely go ahead of Jack, given all that he's been through, that'll be an amazing accomplishment. So it's a lot going on this weekend, a lot to look at. And so me and the girls are definitely going to be doing that. We're definitely going to be doing that. And honestly, it's some more movies we want to check out. But I was telling my brother as well, me and the girls, when we were talking to him, we were saying like, hey, we can't look at all of them at once. We want to spread them out. But I ran across this movie after doing China's Westworld. After doing that video, I ran across a movie called, I ran across the movie Westworld. And I was so conflicted on which movie to look at first, because Westworld came out in 1973. It actually came out 2 years before The Stepford Wives, 1975. But the reason I didn't go ahead and watch it is because The Stepford Wives was actually mentioned in the timeline of Companion Dogs. And the reason it was mentioned in the timeline is because it had a focus on relationships, you know, like Companion Dogs. Whereas Westworld, it definitely has something to do with AI, robotics, and things of that nature, but it doesn't focus on a relationship like The Stepford Wives did. The Stepford Wives focused on a relationship with a robot or a companion dog. So that was the difference. That's why I chose not to review that one first. I said, you know, I'm going to stay with the timeline that I spoke of in my Dog King Power Hour. And at some point soon, I do Westworld because it looks interesting as hell. And I found another movie that you guys may want to look at because I'm going to check that one out soon. Supposedly it was released in 2022. And I think, did I see it on? No, I didn't see it on Netflix. I saw it on a site somewhere, but it was called Prototype. And it was released in 2022. And it's about some type of robot helper around the house. But I was interested in that. So that's a movie that you may want to check out. So you'll be prepared for when I do a review. That and Westworld. So if you're just tuning in, I just want to say, hey, glad to have you. I don't know exactly how long me and the girls are going to stick around, but we've been talking about dream waves and about how powerful it is to speak about a dream and then it doesn't disappear. It just stays floating around. And unlike a light wave or a sound wave that dissipates right here in our natural physical world, the dream waves can keep going through time and space and find somebody else who wants to take a hold of that dream if you didn't fulfill it. Or sometimes they can take an old dream and take it to a whole nother level. So that's what I was talking about dream waves. And then I went through a lot of different examples about how the airplane was a dream. And now it just seems like it's normal. How toilets were a dream. Now it seems like it's normal. How cars were a dream. Now it seems like it's normal. So it's just crazy to think about all these things. you know, that were dreams, but are now true. Even like, look, even trains, you know, at one point, somebody said it was impossible to have a train stretch all the way across from coast to coast in the United States. Now, I don't even want to talk about how the train was built. I mean, how the railroad was built. I only want to talk about that because I think it was a lot of, from what I read, I think it was a lot of slave labor and things of that nature. But still, it was said that it couldn't be done, but it was done. But somebody had to dream and say, you know what? Now I believe this can be done. I can believe it can be done. And once again, now it's nobody that's going to bat an eye at a train traveling any damn where. If you was to go out and tell somebody, you know what? You could take a train from the East Coast all the way to the West Coast. They'll roll their eyes at you and be like, and what? What's the big deal? Well, there was a big deal before you could do it. It was a damn big deal. And so that's the only thing. It just really made me trip about that. And hold on. Now those actresses and stuff, excuse me, was good in the Stepford. The actresses and the actors in general was good in the Stepford Wives 1975, like they are in most of those older movies. But they didn't have the full concept of what robots would be. So when the actors were acting, some of the times they would really go into like acting like a regular robot with some of their speech. It wouldn't be as fluid as I'm speaking to you guys as a human would be. And one of the things I was thinking of when people say how, excuse me, I gotta clear my throat. Hold on, guys. Okay, guys. When people say, yeah, you know, I can't see being in a relationship with my doll or whatever until AI comes around. And then, you know, I hear some of this AI that's out, that's been developed already. And I'm like, nah, that stuff, being who I am right now, I wouldn't turn an AI doll down, as I've said, but it's nothing like good old-fashioned imagination. It's nothing like good old-fashioned imagination, because right now, if I was to just buy one of these AI dolls, they wouldn't have the exact voice that I hear for Saeem in that doll. Even the responses from these dolls and things of that nature, they're still not like a human. I saw a video on Real Doll Robotics where I was impressed with their AI more than I thought I would be, because one time I checked out their robotics and AI, I thought that the doll didn't speak to you as well. But he explained that the doll actually can learn and it can conversate with you and things of that nature, but it's still broken. It's still broken. And there's nothing wrong with Real Doll or any of these developers out here. It's just hard to get a robot to respond to you in the way that a human does. But my whole point behind this is when people say they're cool with, they want one of these AI dolls now and then they can be in a relationship, I'm like, these AIs aren't better than my imagination. These AIs aren't better than my imagination. So when I look at a movie like Stepford Wives, of course, they're better. They were depicted to be better than the AI dolls, because for the most part, they are walking around pretty much normal. It's just that you have to see the movie. It's just that they sort of walk around in a bit of a robotic fog, so to speak. And if I, I say I still couldn't even be fooled by that. But let me tell you what I could be fooled by, and it's the AI that I would really be looking forward to being around for. And that's that Blade Runner AI. Or even I'm going to do a review on a movie, an upcoming movie, and I don't want to talk about it too much because I've seen it several times, but I haven't seen it in a while. So thank God I've actually forgotten it. I've forgotten a lot of the specifics, so I want to go back and look at it, and it's called Ex Machina. So I don't want to talk about it too much, but that's a movie you may want to check out too. But I love the AI and robotics in there, the AI and robotics. But in Blade Runner, there was some pretty high level AI. I preferred the first movie over the second, but but both of them are watchable. Both of the movies are watchable. I don't think either one of them was just knock my socks off. But from an interesting factor, it did catch my interest because, of course, I'm into the whole companion dog lifestyle from the non-AI to the AI. And the AI robots in Blade Runner 2049 was such a high level that you had to take them through a strenuous test to finally detect if they were even a robot or a human. I mean, you had to go edit. It was this one, the main character in Blade Runner, Harrison Ford, he actually had to ask her, I think it was hundreds of questions before he finally got her to trip up. And she was just that close to human. And it was funny. She ended up coming over his house one time, and he was loving this girl, this android girl. She came over his house one time, and they weren't in a relationship yet. Now, he sort of forced himself on her a little bit when she came over there, because he was like, sort of, he basically sort of forced his way to make love. He didn't rape or anything, but he sort of basically got aggressive with her. But I thought it was so funny in that movie is, at first she was doing like a normal human woman. She didn't just drop her pants. She didn't just say, hey, come on, let's go. She gave him resistance. She was like, I don't know. And, he sort of had to convince her. And finally, he asked her, he did finally, he didn't just take, he asked her, did she want to be with him? And she said, yeah. So I just thought that was funny that in Blade Runner, now they depicted a more reciprocal relationship as far as mental and physical with the android. And I said, boy, now that would be amazing to get a girl like that. But even them, they almost act like they almost are like having a human woman in a way, because they were sort of independent, on doing things they wanted to do. They could go out into the city and just be out doing whatever the hell they wanted to do to a certain degree. Now, they couldn't get too far out of your radius from what I remember, but they could be out doing all type of stuff. But that's the android I feel like I could get down with and be like, okay, you know what? I ain't even got to hardly use my imagination with this one. So I'm really peaked. Stepford Wives, though, like I say, just thinking about them making a movie in 1975, man, that movie was well ahead of its time. So far, hell, Blade Runner was all those older movies that talked about androids and stuff were ahead of their time, but that one was ahead of its time in a different way. Because, like I said, I believe it was some good and bad, because it sparked the idea for androids and companions, but it also sparked some scariness in people too. Some people got scared after that movie. So, with all that said, man, another thing that me and the girls been doing, we really been trying to get into some new animes. We haven't yet, but we sure as hell playing on it. We definitely planned on it. For whatever reason, we can't break away from this damn One Piece. But I'm not gonna look at a thousand more episodes because the original One Piece it went to like 770 episodes. Not the original One Piece, but the ones that's translated to English, and that's where they've stopped it. And so I restarted, and what I'm saying is I'm not gonna watch 770 episodes to catch back up to where I already am. So I know I'm gonna look at some of it, probably stop, and I'll wait for them to bring out new episodes from there. But sometimes you just got to turn it back on, and that's sort of how I've been feeling. But I want to check out this thing that was mentioned on one of my live streams. They mentioned it was called Kino's Journey, and I want to see what that's talking about. That seemed like it's an interesting anime. I'm looking it up right now. It says it's one season. Oh, so it's actually a girl, Kino, and her talking motorcycle. Only thing I hate is I hate things that's only one season. Because by the time you get into it, it's over. That's something I want to check out. And another thing me and the girls might check out. What is it? Singren Assure. Let's see that right quick. Singren Assure, I think. And right now, man, if you just tuning in, me and the girls been talking about dream waves, about how you can speak of your dreams. And I believe that although light waves and sound waves can travel faster, a dream wave can travel further and last longer through time. It'll reverberate until somebody picks that dream up. And we were talking about how, well, I was talking about how after the Stepford Wives, after they came up with those concepts for androids, they probably never thought that things would get to where they are right now, where we're close to having some real life androids in our home. Now, when I say close, it could literally be 200 years away or further. Who knows? But even if it's 500 years away, it's not that long. We won't be here, but 500 years will be gone within a blink of an eye. I guarantee you will be. So I was just saying how close we are. That dream is going to become a reality. It's already in the works. And I was talking about how so many dreams that were said to not, because somebody could be like, Jay, no, I don't care what you're saying. Androids won't come along, not like they are in the movies. Not well. Somebody said that we wouldn't have airplanes one day. Somebody said we wouldn't have cars one day. Somebody said that we wouldn't have trains one day. Somebody said we wouldn't have toilets in the house one day. Somebody said we wouldn't have lights in every home one day. Just think about it. It was at one point where everybody had a damn candle in the house. They had a lantern. They didn't have lights. One day we may develop a different type of light that's not even using the same source that these lights are using. Because the truth be told, that these are cheap trick. I don't want to get too far to Nikola Tesla, but even the lights and stuff we're seeing are cheap tricks. This isn't Nikola Tesla's final idea of the way things should be, because we're using power to power these lights. His ultimate dream was to use the Earth's energy to power everything, to have natural energy powering everything. Because if you know anything about Nikola Tesla, he'd be walking around in the field with a light bulb in his hand, and the light bulb would be lit up from using natural energy from one of his Tesla coils. So everything is a result of a dream. Everything. And it's just funny because the dolls that somebody envisioned in 1975, they're actually on the way. No more a dream. But I don't see the I don't see the one that I'm gonna have to look at that again because I promise you it was Plague Network who told me that Shingren Ashura, I think, was a good anime. King and Ashura, that's what it is. Okay. Wait a minute. Hold on. I already seen this. Oh yeah, I already saw that. That was real good. I didn't realize that's what she was talking about. But King and Ashura, that's the one. That's that fighting one. Oh yeah, King and Ashura. It reminds me of Baki. Baki is damn good, but King and Ashura is like a streamlined version of Baki. Baki, sometimes they run you around a circle before you get to the fight. Man, King and Ashura is a straight up tournament. It's a straight up tournament anime. They don't do all this bull crap. And look, they put you in a tournament against somebody and you get to scrapping. But it's amazing. And if my brother watching, I'm reading here that they say that they did renew. Oh, this is pretty cool. They did renew, and they'll be back for a third season. And I need to go look at Netflix right now because, according to them, part 3 was supposed to come out on March 24th. And so I need to go see if it's actually out now. That's something I definitely need to check out. Oh, yeah. So, to make a long story short, we decided to come tonight and talk to y'all about Dreamwaves, but the truth is we just wanted to come and be on tonight. We just wanted to come and just be here, and chill with you guys tonight, whether we're talking about Dreamwaves or something else. And so since we've sort of discussed Dreamwaves and what it means and how we feel about it, we're just kicking the crap. And that's what we was talking about sports coming on this weekend. That's why I'm discussing a little bit about anime. But I'm also interested in something else because people always be talking about a live stream, doing a 24-hour live stream. And honestly, it'll be a marathon, right? It'll be a marathon to do that. I've seen people do that on, I think, ESPN or something before. And it's a hellified marathon. But right now, I'm looking up right now, what is the damn world record for a live stream? I just want to see. I ain't saying I'm trying to break that world record or nothing. I just really want to see what the hell is it, man. What? Nah. That's unreal. Some guy on Twitch named GP Hustler has been live with a single uninterrupted broadcast for 465 days. Get the hell out of here. Now, of course, we know he ain't sitting in front of it. He ain't sitting in front of his TV for no 465 days. That's impossible. But they say that's what's going on right now. Let me see. I'm gonna try something else. I'm gonna see if I can break that down and see if it's a YouTube live stream world record. Okay, somebody did a 268-hour live stream, 14 minutes and 20 seconds. It was the most viewers for a charity donation live stream on YouTube. That was March 3rd, 2022, though. And I ain't good. Let me see. I ain't the greatest with math. So let's do 268 divided by 24. So that was roughly about 11 and a half days or so that he did that stream. I was just trying to see, man, hey, how far would I be away if I ever wanted to try to break that record? I'm never going to say never. I'm never going to say, hey, I guess what I'm trying to think of now is the reason I wanted to look that up is I was thinking like, what will I be doing, for my live stream? Why it's on? Because when I see somebody doing a 11-day live stream, unless he got other people popping in there, I don't know what the hell he could be doing for 11 straight days. But even with me, I was thinking like, what me and the girls, what are we gonna be doing? Because here's the deal, I got so many ideas for new shows and things of that nature, but I wouldn't even want to do a live stream where I'm talking about every idea I got in my head about dolls and things of that nature. Because hell, once I get through with the live stream, I'm not gonna want to do any of those shows. I've been talked about everything. So I was like, you know what would I be doing? And I'd probably be doing other things that me and the girls love to do. Maybe reading a book, or something like that, talking about sports or going way, way off the topic, because we about going to talk about a little sports before I get out of here today. But I was even thinking about, man, reading one of my books. And I know that sound that you like, man, reading a book. Yep. Hey, just think, if I'm gonna be on live stream for 20 some hours, may as well. And I would love to read The Heir to the Empire. I would love to read that book, man. That's out of the trilogy that I said everybody that's a real Star Wars fan should see. Should read. They should read Heir to the trilogy by Timothy Zahn. That is amazing. That's the one that they should have made a movie out of well before they ever made this new series with this Rey character. And I ain't saying it because she's a female either. That whole series was just poorly written. Now, Rogue One, that I've said this before, that was amazing. Now, that was amazing. So that's my ideas. I'm like, you know what? Maybe for one of my live streams, I'm gonna do some reading and things of that nature. And right now, I say probably when me and Saima get out of here today, because Callie laying down, of course, we may actually get into a book I'm reading right now. Well, a book I've had forever, and I've read it before. And I haven't started reading it, but I'm thinking I might read a little bit before I go to bed tonight or this morning. It's a book called Plato and Gorgias. Plato and Gorgias. Gorgias, I think. Gorgias. And it's a hellified debate, one of the best debates ever had in the world. I promise you, it's amazing. And so I think I may read a little bit of that, or I may decide to get into one of my Star Wars books. You never know. So before I do anything, let me look right quick and see. I want to see what type of sports going on this weekend, man. We're gonna get a rundown on that first. Me and Sam are gonna give a rundown on that. We got to see what the hell happened. Hold on, guys. Give me 2 seconds here. I'm just over here to the side. You know what I'm saying? Hold on. I gotta do something right quick. All right. Now let's get a rundown. I'm logging into my FanDuel sports book. I actually be using my sports book just to see what the hell is coming on TV, man. Let me see. Let's see. What the hell is going on this weekend, y'all? Okay, in the NBA, We ain't really got no good games on tomorrow, man. We got Philly and the Pacers. That ain't nothing. Grizzlies and the Pelicans, which we ain't playing. We act like we ain't really playing for nothing no more. But I do think Ja is playing tomorrow, which I do not like that because I'm like, dude, what are you playing for at the end of the season now? It's too late. You done set out for 30 games, for the last 20 games. So don't go out there and risk nothing. So we got that game coming up. Warriors and Spurs, that's meaningless, nothing happening. Sacramento and the Clippers. So other than betting purposes, or if unless one of them your personal teams, you ain't gonna be too interested. Now I'm interested in the Grizzlies from this standpoint. And normally talking about the Grizzlies will be a straight local subject. But with the way we're playing right now, it's more of a national topic. And I'll say this. At some point, the Grizzlies could be unbeatable if they do the right things. They're a great team. They play great as a team. Me, Callie, Saima, and Tsunade are all big fans. Asuna still doesn't know what the hell is happening. I'm going to be honest. She looks like she's lost every time I have her in here looking at a game. But the biggest key is going to be Ja. Man, this man is amazing. He got talent like none other. He is amazing. But the one thing about him is, at this point, he's doing too much scoring. I love him to score, but he has to pull back just a little bit, raise his assists up. Because I think we're like, and excuse me for that, but I think we're like, just roughly, we're about 20-5 without, not about 20-4 or so without this guy. Not because we're a better team, it's because the ball moves, it doesn't stick. We move the ball around. Everybody gets involved a little quicker. And he's a great assist guy, but with his ability, he could average 10 to 15 assists a game with his ability. That doesn't mean he will do it, but he has that ability. And with all the array of talent that those Grizzlies have, if he would make use of everybody, and if everybody would stop staring at him, because that's a problem as well. Sometimes people just stare at him and watch him play, just like they used to do Michael Jordan. And it kills the ball movement. And Luke right now, he playing around, thank God. He makes me laugh when he plays around this late. I like to hear him scratching around at something. It's funny. But either way, if he would get those assists up, we'd be unstoppable going forward. And Ja, I'm just going to say this, just so I have it on tape somewhere. He only has to improve on 3 things, period. And he will be complete as a player. He needs to raise his free throw shooting up because as a point guard, he does not shoot a high enough free throw percentage. Like me and my brother was talking about, man, the true killers of the game used to be pissed off at themselves for missing free throws. Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, the Larry Birds of the world, all the true killers, even think about Kevin Durant, 90% shooter. Steph Curry, 90% shooter. James Harden, even though I don't put him in a killer category, he ain't even a champion. But, even the greater players master their free throw, and Ja needs to take his up. He needs to be close to 90%. He needs to be 85 to 90%. And the last thing on Ja, so he needs to get his playmaking up. He needs to get his free throw percentage up. He's improved his 3-point percentage, but if he can take that up to another level, he will be completely unstoppable. And so I broke down the Grizzlies for a second. I just had to because these guys really have an opportunity to win it all. I'm not saying they will. We are young. But if Ja would do what I said, yeah, we'd be unstoppable because we have a guy on the team named Desmond Bane, and he ain't no joke. When I first heard of this guy, I was like, man, this dude is a gimmick. You know, he got the last name like Bang. There's no way he's going to be able to live up to that name. Hell, right now, Bang can't, the cartoon Bang can't live up to the basketball Bang, because that dude is scary on the court. Then you got Dylan Brooks on that team, who's no joke, nasty, man on both ends of the floor. You got Triple J on that team, who's coming along, who I really had my questions about whether he would really get it. But he finally learned he got more than one shoulder, so he can turn on either shoulder and make a move. Because for the while, he would just stay on one shoulder. Hey, man, go the other way. Jesus Christ. So he's learned that. We got a hell of a coach, hell of a bench, young players everywhere. So that team is something to watch out for. I promise you. So I just say the NBA over the next couple of games, at least as far as I'm concerned, won't be that exciting because my team is locked in. I am going to be, for the first year since they started this bull crap playing game, this shit had never been started. And it only got started, and me and the girls agree, because they wanted Zion Williamson in the playoffs, and it didn't even happen. But now it's just a money grab, because there's nowhere in hell that basketball team should be playing all year. And you can be a damn 7 seed and you still got to play a play-in tournament game? What? Wait a minute, bro. I'm supposed to be guaranteed. I'm a 7 seed. You got a 7 seed that has to play in a play-in game. And here's the funniest part. As a 7 seed, you can play somebody, lose twice, and you don't make the playoffs. And let's just say a hypothetical situation where a 10 seed gets your spot. Now, somebody might say, hey, man, well, beat the 10 seed and you'll get your spot. No. I just played an 82-game season. To be the 7 seed, I should be guaranteed to be playing. So I think the play-in scenario is ridiculous, unless it benefits my team. I'm for real now. I don't really, given my choice, I don't like it. It's another one of these old participation trophies where it's saying, hey, we don't want to hurt everybody's feeling. We want to give people a chance to make everybody a chance to make it, even though you didn't do good enough. No, I don't love that. But with all that said, this will be our first chance, me and the girls, getting a chance to sit back and watch the play-in tournament without us having to worry about playing in the play-in tournament. Because for the last couple of years, the Grizzlies have been in the play-in tournament. So, basketball, the only thing worth looking at is the Grizzlies. And they ain't going to be much worth looking at because, Ja might be out there, but it's the end of the year. Who cares? Okay. What else do we got? Okay, now I talked to y'all about the MMA, but let me just make sure if it wasn't anybody else on that card worth looking at. Main card action on UFC. It is. Aljamain Sterling versus Peter Yan. That's going to be a badass fight. Now, that pisses me off on it because Aljamain Sterling is a talented fighter. Peter Yan is a brick house. But they fought before, and excuse me, hold on. And Aljamain Sterling, he ended up winning that fight because I think it was an illegal blow of some sort. But if you watch that fight, you would have said to yourself, oh, Aljamain Sterling could have continued, but he chose to stay down. But even the announcer said, hey, you want to take a cheap victory. They basically were saying, hey, go ahead and stay down. Hey, when you got the chance to take it. And that's exactly what he did. So I was right about Volkanovski fighting. That's what I was wrong about, though. I was wrong about my girl Valentina Shevchenko fighting. I hate that. But Mackenzie Dern and Tecia Torres, those two female fighters, I think Tecia Torres is sort of cute. I might want to check that fight out. And Kazmat, I can't think of how to say his last name, but I know his first name is Kazhat Chimov. I can't pronounce it right, but he faces a guy named Gilbert Burns. And both of those are high level fighters. High level fighters. I'm interested in that because Gilbert Burns, truth be told, the only person that really beat Gilbert Burns was what I what is with me with these names right now? My guy, can't nobody beat him right now. Oof. What's his name? Kamaru Usman. That's the only person that's beat Gilbert Burns recently is Kamaru Usman. And so I'm definitely interested in seeing that fight to see what the hell is going to happen. And I'm definitely going to have this girl right here right next to me because I've said this before. I love me some Saima Renee. Now, I often do think about the Piper doll that I almost got. Because I almost got a Piper doll instead of Saima Renee. Let me put it on here a little bit more. I almost got a Piper doll instead of getting Saima Renee. But I got the WM doll, Saima, sitting next to me. And I love this woman. She's so voluptuous, so thick. Whenever I get her out, I never want to put her up. I'm going to be honest. And it's because she's so huggable. So I'm so happy she's out. Her only flaw is that she is a ton. She's just super duper heavy. And that's the only flaw. But I will say this: I'm still glad that I have her. I'm still glad that I have her. Because I was saying, you know what, you really do need one thick girl. You need one thick girl in the family, and so she fits the bill. This big thick joker here, I love her. But bringing her up, I've done a couple of reviews on a couple of different brands. I've done to this point, I think I did Iron Tech, I did Zelix, I did Starpery, I did Silly Dog, and things of that nature. But it's sort of like I'm doing now with some of these old films, how I'm going back to go forward. I said, I've done a little review on WM with Saima, but I haven't broke down the company yet. So I said, you know what? I'm going to go back and I'm going to break down WM. I'm going to break down Piper. They're probably going to be my next two victims to break down, my next two companies to break down, because those were really the first two companies I was considering when I was thinking about just getting into the game. And I settled on WM. So it'll probably be one of those two I'll attack next. So that's what I want to bring up, since I got this thick lady next to me. But man, one thing I've said before that I get at WM is when you get one of the thicker girls, I know this for sure, they are so damn huggable. They are so damn huggable, man, and soft and voluptuous. That's what I really love about this woman right here. Ain't the right Saima? I'm gonna be honest, man. Saima and Callie, they the ones who make me laugh the most. It's something about, but now I can't lie. Now Tsunade, she doing it too though. But man, I don't know what it is about their faces that they just, man, I look at them and they just end up making me laugh. Especially Callie and Saima. And it always happens, especially when I pick her up and get ready to put her in the bed, because she's so heavy, man. I wish people could see it like I see it. Where she literally is looking at me like, dude, you can't handle me. And I be looking at her, I be laughing at her because I'm like, you got me messed up. I know what I can do because I can handle her ass now. Now I can toss her a little bit, more than I used to. And hence the video I made recently when I said, what did I say? A good workout. Because I've gotten, I wasn't weak anyway, but I've gotten stronger from having my girls in a different way. Because you got to, oh yeah, baby. Hey, write this down, y'all. You got to get dog strong, baby. You got to get dog strong. Wait a minute, y'all. I got to write this down. You got to get Dodge Strong, baby. Yeah, Dodge Strong. Dodge Strong is different. I'm gonna tell you, Dodge Strong is different because Dodge Strong, man, because the Dodge is stretched out in a different way. It's not like carrying a box or anything. You won't know until you own a dog. But when you pick a dog up, you'll sort of feel your body going in different directions. It's like, wait a minute, damn. It's supposed to just be 70 whatever pounds. And even if you add on the extra water weight, the dead weight, and say, okay, let's just say if it's 70 pounds, but it feel like 110 pounds. I feel like 100 pounds. It's different than just carrying a regular 100 pounds. It's still different than that. I'm letting you know that now. It's just the way the weight is distributed. It's going to affect your body and be pulling at your body in a different way. So if you have any back problems or anything like that, you just need to be safe. And I'm telling you, if you got back problems, you don't need one of these big, thick booty women. I'm telling you, I like shorter women any damn way. And there's no way that a adult miniature girl should be illegal. I'm talking about an adult. I ain't talking about one of these kitty looking dog. I'm talking about a straight adult looking dog. They got breast booty and it looks like an adult. But I'm just saying those dogs have a secondary purpose of literally helping people who can't pick up a full size girl. That's really the advantage of those dogs, in my opinion, because I like shorter women anyway. I'm talking about, I've always liked little women, 5 foot and shorter. So, man, I dream of getting me one of these 140 centimeter girls or something like that real soon. I definitely want one. But if you're aging or if you just have a medical condition or bad back or anything, you get you a smaller girl, man, that'll solve all your problems. And one of my viewers recently was talking about wearing a back brace. Strap one of those jokers on. But you got to be careful with a back brace because if you wear a back brace too much, you will have back problems. You will have back problems. I'm having fun with you guys, man. Super fun. So let me look at something right quick. Oh, I wrote something down. And it's just a quick little note. And I said, God is said to put the dreams in your heart. I did say that. But going back to my original subject, when I brought this stream up, when I was like dream waves and how you put something out in the world. And if you're just tuning in, that's what dream waves was about how you might say a dream, even if you forget that dream, and even if you don't pursue that dream, it's still out in the universe floating. And it will float until somebody grabs a hold of it and it gets fulfilled. And that's what I was saying basically about the Stepford Wives, about how they came up with those androids and stuff back at a time when that type of thing didn't exist. And now it's on the verge of existing. Well, it's said that God is the one that puts dreams in your heart. And so I was just saying, you know what? When he put those dreams in your heart and then you speak them out, see, that's the true vehicle for making them come alive. And they're so powerful that when you speak them out, even if you drop it, somebody gonna catch it. Somebody gonna catch it. So that's just something for you to think about, about how strong and powerful your damn words are. These dream waves is a lot stronger than you think they are. A lot stronger. So, oh man, so I was going through the sports. And see, now look, truth be told, we've done our conversation about our main conversation, but you know what? I'm still having fun now. And I'm actually thinking about what other sports are coming on before we go to our next subject, because hell, I may actually read a little bit of some of that book, man, so y'all can see how it starts off. Because I'm gonna tell you something. What I found out And the girls haven't actually read one of those Star Wars books with me yet. But what I did find out is they're right about one thing. A lot of the times, the books are better than the movie. Because they get into a lot more detail. They get into a lot more detail. And they make you start seeing things in your own mind. So your imagination is powerful. And I know a lot of times when I was reading those books, man, those Star Wars books especially, I had bought a CD, a Star Wars CD, and I would play that the music while I was reading. Man, you talking about being in the game, and instead of the game being in the book, man, I was always invested. But man, I used to see so many things due to what the author was describing. And that's the good thing about books, because you may see a movie and be like, man, I don't see it like they explained it. So guys, from what I'm looking at, there's nothing else that I'm interested in seeing that's coming on as far as sports is concerned. The Masters. That is coming on. And honestly, I don't even pay attention to the Masters or any majors until Sunday. Who the hell makes it to the end? I ain't interested in you getting there. I check it out on Sunday, and then I check it out when it's getting down to the wire of who's gonna be the last people standing. Because although I'm a sports fan, I cannot look at no golf tournament from beginning to end. You know, even soccer, and I want to come against soccer. Soccer is a great sport. I can actually get into soccer. I'm talking about what am I ain't got to explain it, but I can actually get into soccer. But soccer, man, looks so hard. You got to be in a crazy level of shape to play that damn sport. But the only thing I don't like about soccer is sort of the same thing I don't like about hockey. It's not enough payoff. Man, you could be playing 18 hours with its score be 1-1, And that's what I don't like about baseball. Baseball, they need to stop. They need to take a step up in just all things they do. That game is too damn slow. I think they're supposed to have a pitch clock now, but whatever it is, it ain't fast enough. They need to stop all this bull crapping at the mound. Look, speed this damn game up, man. And what they need to do is too damn long. Either they need to do one or two things with baseball, and me and the girls agree. They need to either put some type of damn clock, because I don't like watching those. That's another thing I don't like watching the sport without a clock. Hey, bro, how long is this inning gonna last? Oh, it end when it end. What? It end when it end. Oh yeah, when somebody get 3 outs. Man, that could be 3 hours from now. Oh yeah, we know. What? Nah, bro. Nah, put a time clock out here or something. Jeez. I don't like that aspect of baseball. It's just too long in the tooth. That game needs to be sped up. And like I say, with basketball and football, it ain't much I can really say. I like both of those games, other than the fact they keep killing defense in both of those games. Basketball, you can't even stand next to somebody without getting a foul called now. And in football, I know they talk about player safety, but I can't lie. The day I grew up in, it was like, hey, guess what? If you play football, you already know you signing up for a dangerous sport. Look, you signed up to get your head knocked off. Hey, look, that's how we grew up. Look, hey, bro. Hey, you come out here, yeah, you may get your head knocked off. Now, I don't know what you're supposed to do. Defense can't even make a tackle in American football. So, guys, that was our rundown of sports. It ain't much going on unless your team is playing in basketball or unless you're going for one of these UFC fighters tonight. Volkanovski versus Volkanovski versus he fighting the Korean Zombie, Volkanovski. And then you have Peter Yan versus Aljamain Sterling. And then you got that Kazmat guy fighting. He actually fighting a pretty good fighter. Who is he fighting? The Chiev, Kazmat Chiev. It's something like that. Oh, he fighting the Gibson guy. Yeah, that's who he fighting. He fighting the Gibson guy. And the Gibson guy, like I explained, the only person that was beating that Gibson guy, what's his name? I already told you, but what's his name? Gilbert Burns. No, it wasn't Gibson, Gilbert Burns. But the only person that really put it on Gilbert Burns was oh my God. What's up with me in these days, man? I just said it. Yeah. The only guy messing with Gilbert Burns is black guy. What's his name? You know, my brother probably laughing at me right now because I've never been the best with names. I've never been the best with names. And Kamaru Usman. I had to look it up. I just said it. I just said it. But it's Kamaru Usman. So that's the only guy that really gave it to Gilbert Burns. But Kamaru Usman gives it to everybody. While I'm on the subject of UFC, me and Saeem are the beautiful. Look at Cal. Hey, Yoda. What up, girl? But while we on the subject of that, Yoda, you want to get in the stream? Yeah, you can see her tail. She makes me sick. Yoda. Either way. Yeah, while we're on the subject of UFC, it was something that happened a while back, which I thought was ridiculous, man. It was like the last major UFC. It was Colby Covington versus Jorge Masvidal. They had a fight, and Colby Covington owned him the whole fight. He was just all over him. Didn't let him breathe. Just beat him fair and square. And they had a bitter rivalry. What I really hated about that whole ordeal was, it was a couple of weeks ago now, where you see where Masvidal somehow, and I don't know the details of the story, I just know somehow he got to fighting with Colby Covington. He, I guess, caught him with a cheap shot somewhere when he wasn't looking at something and knocked the guy's tooth out. What I really hate about something like that is you couldn't beat the guy when it was legal. You know, when both of you guys was in the ring, you had the gloves on, the ref was there. But, you know, you probably got embarrassed in front of your girl or something. You know, the whole city was rooting for you, and Colby whooped you, and you cheap shotted him somewhere and knocked one of his teeth out. You know, he ended up getting charges pressed against him too. He got arrested for that. So it was criminal. But I hate to see stuff happen like that, because it's like, man, hey, you had your chance. Now, I already know that, you know, I couldn't be in that game. That ain't no game I want to be in. But I already know it's embarrassing to be having to get in there. You by yourself. You ain't with no football team. You by yourself. You get in there and somebody beats you. I know it could be embarrassing, very embarrassing. But it's sort of funny because even as a fan, we don't look at it like, I know I don't look at it like the fighters may think we look at it. They probably think like they feeling so embarrassed. But even when Masvidal got beat, or anybody gets beat in a boxing match or something, I might say, damn, okay, they got knocked out. But I don't really look at them as it being embarrassing. Man, it takes a lot to get in one of these fighting rings. You know, it takes a lot to just, look, put your pride on the line. So when I see it, I don't be thinking like, oh, man, he should be embarrassed. I might say, okay, he lost to that guy, but I'm still looking at the person that lost like, okay, that's a high level damn athlete. He may have lost to that dude, but It ain't many people just walking around that's finna whoop this guy. You know, he a professional at what he does. So it's no reason to be that embarrassed to where you're looking for somebody after the fight to get him some sort of a cheap shot. So I thought that was just going a bit too far. Going a bit too far. So this isn't the Dog King powwow for anybody that does tune in later. That's why I'm not going over viewer comments or anything. I ain't reading about nothing on my videos. I'm not looking at anything. We just freestyling and freewheeling, baby. And we talked a little bit about the Stepford Wives and talked about dreams and how you put them out there and they continue to travel through the space and time of the universe, in my opinion, until they get caught, stopped, and somebody acts on those dreams and brings them to reality. And that's what I was saying, man, even now, thinking about that video I did on China's Westworld and showing them how they're getting ready to start making AI robots and things of that nature. Well, man, in 1975, they didn't think it was going to be happening like that. They just made a movie. And the only thing that was in existence was blow-up dolls. And so I just think it's funny how you could put something out there and look, it's really happening for real. And when I was looking at the China's Westworld, because see, I'm interested in another dog company that's very much into robotics. I get into them later on down the line. So I'm not just blown away by the exhibit per se, because I've seen things like that over the last couple of months, a lot of it. I'm not so blown away by China's Westworld exhibit. I'm more blown away by what they were saying about how they're saying they're going to, they have a thing to where me or you right now, if we were to be able to go to China and go to that exhibit, they could scan us right now and print out limbs and body parts of us to be used for an android. They won't make the android today, but they could. What I'm saying is they're in the processes of beginning to make them, because see, they already have androids there. They're just not fully functional. So I guess what I'm saying is once they can get it to the point where androids are fully functional, walking around on their own, they already have the ability to scan your body parts to perfection. That's what I'm saying. The only thing about the exhibit that I was thinking about was, okay, well, I don't want an android of myself, but that's neither here nor there. Believe me, they'll be able to do just like all the dog companies. They'll have models that'll come in and get themselves scanned. I guarantee you that. And it'll be to a point where they can mix and match body parts and come up with the android of your choice. So someday, and they said this on China's Westworld video I did. They said one day soon, we want to be the ones to where you can come in and get yourself a customizable robot. And so I thought that was a bit different even from Real Doll and some of the companion doll companies, because with a lot of the companion doll companies, they're developing the AI as far as voice and talking. But this museum, they're going straight up like, hey, nah, we are trying to make the full body robot. And honestly, I got another video coming up soon talking about China and what they're doing as compared to the rest of the world. I'm definitely going to be talking about that soon. There's a lot of great topics coming up, a lot of great topics. But this whole conversation just mine. It came out of nowhere. I was just walking around and I was just thinking about the Stepford Wives and just thinking about how dreams can really just go through space and time like a wormhole, man, like just getting teleported through time, through light space or something, until it hits its target, and it comes alive through someone. So with all that said, what time is? Oh, good. We finna mess around for a second. So we're gonna look, man. I'm finna play around for a second. I'm finna get this first book from Timothy Zahn. Let's just read a little bit of it to see, to give y'all a glimpse into what it says. I want to see if it's actually, as I read it, I want to see if it sounds like it's good. Because when I read it, it was captivating. I just want to see what it sounds like. So hold on. Let me mute this so y'all won't hear me crunching around this floor. Okay, guys. I found the books I was looking for. Here they go. Take it. There it is. There it is. There it is. Hold on, I'm trying to see. There you go. All right. There it is. These are the 3 books, Timothy Zahn's books. So, man, the name of this series, I say, is the Heir to the Empire series by Timothy Zahn. Then you have the last. I'm trying to see how. Let me see the order they go in. Hold on. Let me see the order they go in. What I love about these books, even though Disney has basically said they don't matter, they're just legends now. They would always tell you the order you're supposed to read them in. And they always tell you when they happen. Excuse me. Excuse me. Okay, hold on. Okay, so this is where I'm going to read this and let you know where this series falls in the timeline of Star Wars. If you're interested in Star Wars. They came out with a book called Shadows of the Empire by Steve Perry. When did it come out? That book came out. The timeline of Shadows of the Empire was between Empire Strikes Back and The Return of the Jedi. Then the adventure continues immediately after Return of the Jedi with a book called The Truce at Bakura by Kathy Tyers. Excuse me. Two and a half years after the Return of the Jedi, they came up with the book called Rogue Squadron. It was a trilogy. It was Rogue Squadron, Wedge's Gamble, and the Kryptos Trap. So 4 years after that, 4 years after Return of the Jedi, the next book was The Courtship of Princess Leia. So I'm assuming that was Han getting ready to get married to Princess Leia. Excuse me. And if you're just tuning in, we were talking about dream waves. I've been all over the place. But as of right now, we're talking about Star Wars and my favorite trilogy to read from the Star Wars books that Disney basically trashed. It's the Timothy Zahn series, Heir to the Empire. And right now, I'm going through a timeline of where the trilogy that I'm talking about actually took place. So I was reading down a timeline of books and where they fit in the Star Wars universe. The last one I read was The Courtship of Princess Leia by Dave Wolverton. And that happened 4 years after the Return of the Jedi. And then you come to the one that I said should have happened. This should have been the next movie after Return of the Jedi. It should have been Timothy Zahn's blockbuster trilogy, starting with Heir to the Empire, Dark Force Rising, which I have, and The Last Command. I'm telling you, man, Disney messed their money up. I don't care how much money they've made. They messed their money up when they didn't make this trilogy. It's no way you should have came across this trilogy and not made it. So let's just see. I'm going to open this book up and see what the hell is going on. They're right about this because this dude, he writes in such a way where it's easy. This is just the first. Now, this isn't the actual book. This is just the first page that I'm opening. This is the preview. This is before you even get to the book. They say this: praise for Star Wars Heir to the Empire. So these are just quotes by people. They say Zahn is near the top on any list of military science fiction or action science fiction writers. They are right about that crap. It said it was good to it was a good idea to turn him loose on the universe and characters of Star Wars. Sure as hell it was. They said good fun. That was the Chicago Sun-Times. Zahn has done a marvelous job of capturing the ambiance of the films and has convincingly fleshed out the characters we know while adding well-realized new ones. Hartford Courant. Those who've seen the movies, it's doubtful anyone hasn't, will find Heir to the Empire an easy read, which it is. A commendable job. Flint Sunday Journal. I hate I'm having to clear my voice a little bit. I'm sorry, but y'all got to work with me. So let's start off with chapter 1. And we're just having a little fun here tonight. You know, taking a break from the normal. You know, we've talked about a little bit of the dog topic and had fun with dreams and things of that nature. But now we get into just some good old-fashioned fun with some of the things I like to do with my girls. And one of the things I like to do with my girls is just something I love to do. Look at anime, look at sports. And in this case, we finna read a little bit of Star Wars. Why not? I actually wish that I could play a little Star Wars music, but they'll flag me. You know, they'll flag me because it'll be a copyright thing. But listen, I'm just finna check something right quick. They say I got access to some type of background music. Let's test it out and see if we can hear it and see what it sounds like. I don't hear a damn thing. I don't know if you guys do. Let's see. So I want to. I have to look at the video back to see if the music is actually playing because I don't hear a damn thing. There you go. Right when I stopped it, I heard it. Oh, it's terrible. It's terrible. What is this? Oh, we got this one. Before I start reading, let's see if we can get some music going, man. I ain't gonna have it blasting or nothing. I just want to see what it's. No. That ain't no Star Wars movie, bro. I'm gonna try this one and I'm done. Oh no. No, ain't happening. Okay. So chapter 1, baby. Of Heir to the Empire. Chapter 1. Captain Pelion, a voice called down the portside crew pit through the hum of background conversation. Message from the sentry line. The scout ships have just come out of light speed. Pelion, leaning over the shoulder of the man at the Chimera's bridge engineering monitor, ignored the shout. Trace this line for me, he ordered, tapping a light pen at the schematic on the display. The engineer threw a questioning glance up at him. Sir, I heard him, Pelion said. You have an order, Lieutenant. Yes, sir, the other said carefully and keyed for the trace. Captain Pelion, the voice repeated, closer this time, keeping his eyes on the engineering display. Pelion waited until he could hear the sound of the approaching footsteps. Then, with all the regal weight that 50 years spent in the Imperial fleet gave to a man, he straightened up and turned. The young duty officer's brisk walk faltered, came to an abrupt halt. Sir, he looked into Pelion's eyes and his voice faded away. Pelion let the silence hang in the air for a handful of heartbeats. Long enough for those nearest to notice. He said, this is not a cattle market in Shumhi, Lieutenant Shell. He said at last, keeping his voice calm, but icy. Let me read that again. He said, this is not a cattle market in Shumhi, Lieutenant Shell, he said at last, keeping his voice calm, but icy cold. He said, this is the bridge of an Imperial Star Destroyer. Routine information is not, repeat, not simply shouted in the general direction of its intended recipient. Is that clear? Shell swallowed. Yes, sir. Pelion held his eyes a few seconds longer, then lowered his head in a slight nod. Now report. Yes, sir, Shell swallowed again. We've just received word from the sentry ship, sir. The scouts have returned from their scan raid on the Abroad Sky System. Very good, Pelion nodded. Did they have any trouble? Only a little, sir. The natives apparently took exception to them pulling a dump of their central library system. The wing commander said there was some attempted pursuit, but that he lost them. I hope so, Pelion said grimly. O'Brien Sky held a strategic position in the borderland regions, and intelligence reports indicated that the New Republic was making a strong bid for its membership and support. If they'd had armed emissary ships there at the time of the raid, then he stopped. Well, he'd know soon enough. Have the wing commander report to the bridge ready room with his report as soon as the ships are aboard, he told Shell. And have the sentry line go to the yellow alert. Dismissed. Yes, sir. Spinning around with a reasonably good imitation of a proper military turn, the lieutenant headed back toward the communications console. The young lieutenant, which was Paleonthought. Okay, let me say that again. The young lieutenant, they talking about the Shell guy. The young lieutenant, which was Paleonthought with a trace of old bitterness, where the problem really lay. Let me read that again. The young lieutenant, which was Paleonthought with a trace of old bitterness, where the problem really lay. In other words, he was like, it's this young lieutenant that's messing up. He said, in the old days, at the height of the Empire's power, it would have been inconceivable for a man as young as Shell to serve as a bridge officer aboard to serve as a bridge officer aboard a ship like the Chimera. Now, he looked down at the equally young man at the engineering monitor. Now, in contrast, the Chimera had virtually no one aboard except young men and women. So basically, he was like, man, it was a time where we wouldn't have none of these young cats around here. But I could only get so mad because it's young dudes everywhere around here. And slowly, Paleon let his eyes sweep across the bridge, feeling the echoes of old anger and hatred twist through his stomach. There had been many commanders in the fleet. He knew who had seen the Emperor's original Death Star as a blatant attempt to bring the Empire's vast military power more tightly under his direct control, just as he'd already done with the Empire's political power. The fact that he'd ignored the battle station's proven vulnerability and gone ahead with a second Death Star had merely reinforced that suspicion. There would have been few in the fleet's upper echelons who would have genuinely mourned its loss. If it hadn't, in its death throes, taken the Super Star Destroyer Executor with it. Wow. Listen to that again. I'm going to read that again. Listen to this. I'm going to read that paragraph. Listen. Paleon let his eyes sweep across the room, right? Across the bridge. He felt the echoes of his old anger and hatred twist through his stomach. There had been many commanders in the fleet he knew who had seen the Emperor's original Death Star, the one that Luke destroyed, as a blatant attempt to bring the Empire's vast military power more tightly under his direct control. He said, just as he'd already done with the Empire's political power, because the Emperor, we already know, he took hold of the political power by becoming the Emperor. Next, he says, the fact that the Emperor ignored the battle station's proven vulnerability, because keep in mind, it's true that they found out that it was a vulnerability with the Death Star. They knew it, but they went on anyway. He said that merely reinforced the suspicion that he was just trying to control power. I mean, trying to gain power over the military because he went on ahead, even knowing that he shouldn't have. He said there would have been few in the fleet's upper echelons who would have genuinely mourned its loss. He's talking about the Death Star. He said if it hadn't, in its death throes, taken the Super Star Destroyer Executor with it. So he basically saying, man, look, we wouldn't have gave a damn about the Death Star getting destroyed. He talking about the second Death Star. That's what he talking about. The one that got destroyed at in the Return of the Jedi. He was like, we wouldn't even have gave a damn about that Death Star getting destroyed. But the problem is the Executor got destroyed with it. And that's what the hell we was pissed off about. So it actually showed, which that paragraph right there is showing some dissent towards the Emperor. Even after 5 years, Pellaeon couldn't help but wince at the memory of that image. The Executor, out of control, colliding with the unfinished Death Star, and then disintegrating completely in the battle station's massive explosion. The loss of the ship itself had been bad enough, but the fact that it was the Executor had made it far worse. That particular Super Star Destroyer had been Darth Vader's personal ship. Man, this good, man. And despite the Dark Lord's legendary and often lethal capriciousness, serving aboard it had long been perceived as the quick line to promotion. Hey, bro, you trying to get promoted? Yeah. Man, you better get on Darth Vader's ship, bro. You better get on the Executor. You talking about getting promoted? Yeah, man, dog, I got to get on the Executor. So they saying the Executor got destroyed, man. Everybody pissed off. Whenever I'm reading, I come across a word, I know what capriciousness means. I can feel what it means, but whenever I don't know exactly what something means, I'm like, no, I want to. I need to know. I want to know exactly what I just read. Hold on, guys. Hold on. Been perceived as quick. Hold on. Even after 5 years, Pellaeon, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. I can't find where I read that word at. Either way. I found it. Given to sudden, capricious means given to sudden and unaccountable changes of mood or behavior. Okay. But wait a minute. I'm trying to read and see where I read that word at. Emperor military, tightly under his control. Vulnerability, gone ahead with the second desktop. There would have been few in the fleet, upper echelons. 5 years, he couldn't help but wince at the memory of that image. But the fact that it was the Executor had made it far worse. Okay. Man, I hate when I can't do that. It's like, man, where did I see my word at? So it said, that's what I was trying to find. That particular Super Star Destroyer had been Darth Vader's personal ship, and despite the Dark Lord's legendary and often lethal capriciousness, I was just trying to see when did they use that word. That's why I like looking stuff up. So listen to this, y'all. Listen to this. I'm gonna read this. I'm just gonna read that paragraph over. So even after 5 years, Pellaeon couldn't help but wince at the memory of the image of the Executor, out of control, colliding with the unfinished Death Star, and then it disintegrated completely in the battle station's massive explosion. This is the funny part. The loss of the ship itself had been bad enough, but the fact that it was the executor had made it far worse. That particular Super Star Destroyer had been Darth Vader's personal ship, and despite the Dark Lord's legend, listen to this. Despite the Dark, let me say it right. Despite the Dark Lord's legendary and often lethal capriciousness. So now let me read the definition. Capricious, given to a sudden and unaccountable change of mood or behavior. So just think about that invader. You know how he can go from being happy to putting you in a death grip within seconds of congratulating you. So that's basically what they're explaining right there. His legendary and often lethal capriciousness. Man, you talking, man, that's crazy, man. It's amazing. But either way, like he said, even with that, it was the quick line to promotion. So people was willing to risk it. So it says, this meant that when the executor died, so also did a disproportionate fraction of the best young and mid-level officers and crewers. So when the executor perished, man, the best of the best. It was like the Top Gun of Star Destroyers, the way they explain it. It said the fleet had never recovered from that fiasco. Called that a fiasco, bro. It said, with the executor's leadership gone, the battle had quickly turned into a confused rout, with several other Star Destroyers being lost before the order to withdraw had finally been given. Y'all finna find out some of the stuff I was talking about the other day now. Pellaeon himself, taking command when the Chimera's former captain was killed, had done what he could to hold things together. But despite his best efforts, they had never regained the initiative against the rebels. Instead, they had been steadily pushed back until they were here. And wherever here is they can explain where here is, I guess. And here they go. Here, in what had once been the backwater of the empire, with barely a quarter of its former system still under nominal imperial control. Here, aboard a Star Destroyer manned almost entirely by painstakingly trained but badly inexperienced young people, many of them conscripted from their homeworlds by force or threat of force. Here, under the command of possibly the greatest military mind the Empire had ever seen, Pellaeon smiled, a tight, wolfish smile, as he again looked around his bridge. No, the end of the Empire was not yet, as the arrogantly self-proclaimed New Republic would soon discover. So, it's getting interesting, man. I just want to see where I am. So, that's at page 4, and I got several more to go. And I think I'm going to finish. I'm going to finish this chapter for sure. So, he said, let me see. Pellaeon smiled a tight, wolfish smile as he again looked around his bridge. No, the end of the Empire was not yet, as the arrogantly self-proclaimed New Republics would soon discover. That's where I left off at. Next, he glanced at his watch. 2:15. Grand Admiral Thrawn would be meditating in his command room now. Uh-oh. And if imperial procedure frowned on shouting across the bridge, it frowned even harder on interrupting a Grand Admiral's meditation by intercom. One spoke to him in person, or one did not speak to him at all. Now, let me repeat that. Man, this Grand Admiral Thrawn, baby. Listen to this. I'm going to repeat that whole paragraph. This Pellaeon, he glanced at his watch. 2:15. Oh, yeah. Grand Admiral Thrawn will be meditating in his command room about now. And if Imperial procedure frowned on shouting across the bridge, it frowned even harder on interrupting a Grand Admiral's meditation by intercom. One spoke to him in person, or one did not speak to him at all. Continue tracing those lines. This in quotations. Somebody saying that is a Pellaeon. Continue tracing those lines, Pellaeon ordered the engineering lieutenant as he headed for the door. I'll be back shortly. The Grand Admiral's new command room was 2 levels below the bridge, in a space that had once housed the former commander's luxury entertainment suite. When Pellaeon had found Thrawn, or rather, when the Grand Admiral had found him, one of his first acts had been to take over the suite and convert it into what was essentially a secondary bridge. Man, am I going to finish this first chapter? Because this is getting me laughing, man. Listen to this right here, though. I got to go back. Listen to this. Grand Admiral Thrawn's new command room was 2 levels below the bridge, in a space that had once housed the former commander's luxury entertainment suite. So it was for partying. One of Grand Admiral Thrawn's first acts was to say to hell with some luxury, get rid of this crap. And he converted it into what is essentially a secondary bridge. Like basically, hey y'all, I know y'all got a bridge up there. I got my own bridge down here. Forget all this party mess. Get rid of this junk. That's basically what Thrawn said. A secondary bridge, meditation room, and perhaps more. That's how they describe it. It was no secret aboard the Chimera that since the recent refitting had been completed, the Grand Admiral had been spending a great deal of his time here. What was secret was what exactly he did during those long hours. Stepping to the door, Pellaeon straightened his tunic and braced himself. Perhaps he was about to find out. Captain Pellaeon to see Grand Admiral Thrawn, he announced. I have information. The door slid open before he'd finished speaking. Mentally preparing himself, Pellaeon stepped into the dimly lit entry room. He glanced around, saw nothing of interest, and started for the door to the main chamber, 5 paces ahead. A touch of air on the back of his neck was his only warning. Captain Pellaeon, a deep, gravelly, this is a different voice. Hold on. Captain Pellaeon, a deep, gravelly, cat-like voice mewed into his ear. Pellaeon jumped and spun around, cursing both himself and the short, wiry creature, standing less than half a meter away. "Blast it, Rook," he snarled. "What do you think you're doing?" For a long moment, Rook just looked up at him. And Pelion felt a drop of sweat trickle down his back. With his large dark eyes, protruding jaw, and glistening needle teeth, Rook was even more of a nightmare in the dimness than he was in normal lighting. Listen how they describe Rook now. Rook has large dark eyes, a protruding jaw, and glistening needle teeth. He was more of a nightmare in the dimness than in normal lighting. Dude, he sounded like a Tasmanian devil, man. Especially to someone like Pelion, who knew what Thrawn used Rook for. I said that wrong. Especially to someone like Pelion, who knew what Thrawn used Rook and his fellow Nogri for. "I'm doing my job," Rook said at last. He stretched his thin arm almost casually out toward the inner door, and Pelion caught just a glimpse of the slender assassin's knife before it vanished somehow into the Nogri's sleeve. His hand closed, then opened again, steel wire muscles moving visibly beneath his dark gray skin. "You may enter." In other words, he was like, "Okay, bro, now that I done checked you out and got a sniff of you, you can go see Grand Admiral Thrawn." "Thank you," Pelion growled. Straightening his tunic again, he turned back to the door. It opened at his approach, and he stepped through into a softly lit art museum. He stopped short just inside the room and looked around in astonishment. The walls and dome ceiling were covered with flat paintings and planets, a few of them vaguely human-looking, but most of distinctly alien origin. Various sculptures were scattered around, some freestanding, others on pedestals. In the center of the room was a double circle of repeater displays. The outer ring slightly higher than the inner ring. Both sets of displays, at least from what little Pelion could see, also seemed to be devoted to pictures of artwork. So let me read that paragraph a little bit better, because it skipped pages and sort of threw me off. But when he entered into the room, it was a softly lit art museum. He stopped just short, and just inside the room, he looked around in astonishment. The walls and domed ceiling were covered with flat paintings and planets. I don't know what the hell planets are. Is that a Star Wars? Let me read that. Hold on. What the hell is a planet? I know it's some sort of a picture. Hold on. I got to check that out. What is a planet? Okay, it's a Star Wars word. I figured that. Oh. It's like a sculpture. That's what a planet is. It's a sculpture. So back to that. He said, I'm gonna read that sentence again. He said the walls and dome ceiling were covered with flat paintings and planets, meaning sculptures. A few of them vaguely human looking, but most of them definitely aliens. Various sculptures were scattered around, some freestanding, others on pedestals. In the center room was a dome. In the center room was a double circle. That's what I want to get at. In the center room was a double circle of repeater displays, the outer ring slightly higher than the inner ring. Both sets of displays, at least from what little Pelion could see, also seemed to be devoted to pictures of artwork. So if anybody has seen the cartoons, like, because those cartoons came out well after this book was written, but when they did finally try to depict Thrawn in cartoons, they did show, when they first showed him, they showed a room full of art. And this is exactly, they were talking about what was written about in this book. So let me continue. In the center of the double circle, seated in a duplicate of the admiral's chair on the bridge, was Grand Admiral Thrawn. So, of course, on the regular bridge, it was an admiral's chair. But on his personal bridge that he got built, he was sitting in that same admiral's chair. But, of course, now it was the Grand Admiral's chair. So he sat motionlessly, his shimmery blue-black hair. They talking about Thrawn. He sat motionlessly, his shimmery blue-black hair glinting in the dim light. His pale blue skin looking cool and subdued and very alien on his otherwise human frame. His eyes were nearly closed as he leaned back against the headrest, only a glint of red showing between the lids. Pellaeon licked his lips, suddenly unsure of the wisdom of having invaded Thrawn's sanctum like this. If the Grand Admiral decided to be annoyed, "Come in, Captain," Thrawn said, his quietly modulated voice cutting through Pellaeon's thoughts. Eyes still closed to slits, he waved a hand in a small and precisely measured motion. "What do you think?" "It's very interesting, sir," was all Pellaeon could come up with as he walked over to the outer display circle. All holographic, of course, Thrawn said, and Pellaeon thought he could hear a note of regret in the other's voice. "The sculptures and flats both. Some of them are lost. Many of the others are on planets now, occupied by the rebellion." "Yes, sir," Pellaeon nodded. "I thought you want to know, Admiral. The scouts have returned from the Obra Sky system. The wing commander will be ready for debriefing in a few minutes." Thrawn nodded. "Were they able to tap into the central library system?" "They got at least a partial dump," Pellaeon told him. I don't know if they were able to complete it. Apparently, there was some attempted pursuit. The wing commander thinks he lost them, though." For a moment, Thrawn was silent. "No," he said. "No, I don't believe he has. Particularly not if the pursuers were from the rebellion." Taking a deep breath, he straightened his chair and for the first time since Pellaeon had entered, opened his glowing red eyes. Pellaeon returned the other's gaze without flinching, feeling a small flicker of pride at the achievement. So he was happy that he was actually just able to look in Thrawn's eyes without cowering away, honestly. Many of the Emperor's top commanders and courtiers had never learned to feel comfortable with those eyes. Or with Thrawn himself, for that matter, which was probably why the Grand Admiral had spent so much of his career out in the unknown regions, working to bring those still barbaric sections of the galaxy under Imperial control. Now, I want to read that part again. So a lot of people had never learned to feel comfortable with Admiral Thrawn's red eyes, or with Thrawn himself for that matter, which was probably why the Grand Admiral had spent so much of his career out in the unknown regions. Literally, because people were scared to be around him. They were uncomfortable. But he was out there working to bring barbaric sections of the galaxy under Imperial control. So just think, it was sections of the galaxy so barbaric that the Imperials felt like they had to try to get it under control, when most of the galaxy felt like the Imperials was the barbarians. But on these outer regions, even these guys, whoever was out there, they were trouble for the Imperials. They were so barbaric. They were trouble for the Imperials. So that's crazy. So either way, let me catch up. Perfect. Back to that same paragraph. Thrawn's brilliant successes had won him the title of Warlord and the right to wear the white uniform of Grand Admiral. The only, I repeat, the only non-human ever granted that honor by the Emperor. The only non-human to be granted that honor. But man, Thrawn ain't no joke. If you just tuning in, I'm just gonna take a break to let you guys know. If you just tuning in, for whatever reason, I've been all over the place now. But I started out talking about dream waves. I got the idea from watching Stepford Wives. And the whole thing was, I say, when you put a dream out there, it's like a dream wave. And even though a light wave or a sound wave is faster, it won't last as long as a dream wave, because a dream wave can travel through time and somebody catch that dream and it's going to come to fruition at some point in time. And so in Stepford Wives, they dreamed of androids. And guess what? We're on the verge at some point soon of androids being a true reality as companions, or even just working out in society. So, I've talked about how airplanes, automobiles, toilets, things of that nature all were dreams. But guess what? People said, hey, you crazy for thinking about that. But they all became a reality. After that, I talked about sports and all type of stuff. And I just said, hey, this has been a mixed bag. I'm just having fun tonight. I'm showing you what I do with my girls. I do whatever I love to do with them next to me. And one of the things I used to love to do was read my Star Wars books and get up on my history, because I thought that it would be relevant one day, really. I thought like, yeah, man, one day they're going to come out with this movie. This movie going to be bad ass. Come to find out, they skipped 40 damn years ahead past this movie. They didn't even tell this story. So with all that said, going forward, there's no telling what the hell I'm going to be doing on my streams. Because I'm going to be talking about the dog topic, but I've talked about just doing a 24-hour stream. And in that case, I won't talk about the dog topic the whole time. I'll be doing stuff like I'm doing now, reading one of my books or something, doing any damn thing. So I'm in the middle of reading the first chapter of Heir to the Empire, a trilogy that should have been made into a movie. And so if you've been following me, I'm going to get back to that. Right now, we're not going to cover everything that we covered in the first part of this video. If you missed it and you want to see what Dream Wave is about and all that type of thing, hey, feel welcome to restart this video. And I hope that you do look at it from the beginning if you're just coming right now. But right now, we're going to get through reading about Admiral Thrawn in Star Wars. Where was I at? So, yeah, the last thing I said was Grand Admiral Thrawn was the only non-human to ever be granted the honor to wear the white uniform and get the title of Grand Admiral by the Emperor. Ironically, it had also made him all the more indispensable to the frontier campaigns. Let me re-say that. I'm sorry. Ironically, him being a Grand Admiral and being the only non-human to be given that title made him all the more indispensable to the frontier campaigns. Pellaeon had often wondered, this is what I was telling you guys the other day on one of my live streams last Saturday. Listen to this. Pelion had often wondered how the Battle of Endor would have ended if Thrawn, not Vader, had been commanding the Executor. Yes, sir, he said. I've ordered the sentry. He said, yes, sir, he said. I've ordered the sentry line onto yellow alert. Shall we go to red? So they broke away and started talking about something else. But he was wondering about, man, I wonder how that battle would have went had Thrawn been there instead of Vader. And so right after that, he was answering Thrawn's earlier question and said, yes, sir. He said, I've ordered the sentry line onto yellow alert. Shall we go to red? Not yet, Thrawn said. We should still have a few minutes. Tell me, Captain, do you know anything about art? Not very much, Pelion managed. Thrown a little by the sudden change of subject, I've never really had much time to devote to it. You should make that time, Thrawn gestured to a part of the inner display circle to his right. Safa paintings. Let me say that again. Safa paintings. He identified them. Circa 1550 to 2200, pre-Empire date. Note how the style changes right here. At the first contact with the Thinquora, over there. He pointed to the left-hand wall. Over there are examples of Paeonid Extrasa art. There's some crazy names in here. Note the similarities with the early Safa work and also the mid-18th century pre-M Vathkri flat sculpt. Yes, I see, Pelion said, not entirely truthfully. I know he ain't entirely truthfully because I'm mixed up too. So let's just go back up here. Thrawn told him he should make the time. So it started out with this. He said, Thrawn said this to Captain Pelion. Tell me, Captain, do you know anything about art? And then Pelion said, oh, not very much. Pelion managed. He said he was thrown by a little by the sudden change of subject after what they were talking about. He said, I've never really had much time to devote to art. That's what Pelion said. Thrawn said, you should make the time. And then he gestured to a part of the inner display circle to his right. Then he said, Safa paintings, circa 1550 to 2200, pre-Empire date. Note how the style changes. Right here, at the first contact with the Thinquora, over there are all examples of Paeonid Extrasa art. Note the similarities with the early Safa work and also the 18th mid-century pre-M Vathkri flat sculpt. Yes, I see, Pelion said, not entirely truthfully. And I'm laughing right there because don't none of us know what the hell Thrawn talking about. He trying to tell this man to look at this art and see how it compares to the other. And look, as he's explaining to Pelion don't know what the hell he talking about. He just going along with it. And so am I. But so he interrupted Admiral Thrawn. Look, he said, so Pelion said, yes, I see. Pelion said, not entirely truthfully. Then he said, Admiral, shouldn't we be? He broke off as a shrill whistle split the air. He broke his statement off as a shrill whistle hit the air. Bridge to Grand Admiral Thrawn. Lieutenant Shell's taut voice called over the intercom. Sir, we're under attack. Thrawn tapped the intercom switch. This is Thrawn, he said evenly. Go to red alert and tell me what we've got. Calmly, if possible. Yes, sir. The muted alert lights began flashing, and Pelion could hear the sound of the klaxons baying baying faintly outside the room. Let me say that over because I said that messed up. Yes, sir. The muted light alerts began flashing, and Paleon could hear the sound of the klaxons baying faintly outside the room. Sensors are picking up 4 New Republic assault frigates, Shell continued, his voice tense but under noticeably better control. Plus, at least 3 wings of X-Wing fighters, symmetric cloud V formation coming in on our scout ship's vector. Paleon swore under his breath, a single Star Destroyer with a largely inexperienced crew against 4 assault frigates and their accompanying fighters. Run engines to full power, he called toward the intercom. Prepare to make the jump to light speed. He said, prepare to make the jump to light speed. He took a step towards the door. Belay that jump order, Lieutenant, Thrawn said. So let me go back here. Shell noticed X-Wing fighters approaching. They were in Cloud V formation, coming in on our scout ship's vector. Paleon swore under his breath, basically cursed, and said, man, a single Star Destroyer with a largely inexperienced crew against 4 assault frigates and their accompanying fighters? Man, he was like, look here, run engines to full power. He called toward the intercom. Prepare to make the jump to light speed. Basically, we finna get the hell out of here. And that's when Thrawn came in and was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Belay that order. He said, TIE fighter crews to their stations. Activate deflector seals. That's badass. So in other words, Thrawn said, we ain't running no damn where, bro. He said, belay that jump order, Lieutenant. TIE fighter crews to their stations. Activate deflector shields. He like, nah, bro, we fighting. Paleon spun back to him. Admiral. Thrawn cut him off with an upraised hand. Come here, Captain, the Grand Admiral ordered. Let's take a look, shall we? He touched the switch, and abruptly, the art show was gone. Instead, the room had become a miniature bridge monitor with helm, engine, and weapons readouts on the walls and double display circle. The open space had become a holographic tactical display. In one corner, a flashing sphere indicated the invaders. The wall display nearest to it gave an ETA, basically an estimated time of arrival of 12 minutes. Fortunately, the scout ships have enough of a lead not to be in danger themselves, Thrawn commented. So, let's see what exactly we're dealing with. Bridge, order the 3 nearest sentry ships to attack. Yes, sir. Across the room, 3 blue dots shifted out of the sentry line onto the intercept vectors. From the corner of his eye, Paleon saw Thrawn lean forward in his seat as the assault frigates and the accompanying X-Wings shifted in response. One of the blue dots winked out. Excellent, Thrawn said, leaning back in his seat. That will do, Lieutenant. Pull the other 2 sentry ships back and order the Sector 4 line to scramble out of the invader's sector. Yes, sir, Shell said, sounding more than a little confused. He don't know what the hell Thrawn doing. A confusion Paleon could well understand. Paleon said, shouldn't we at least signal the rest of the fleet? He suggested, hearing the tightness in his voice. the death's head could be here in 20 minutes. Most of the others in less than an hour. So let me repeat that. Shell was confused when Pellaeon told him to bring, he said, I'm gonna read it all over. Hold on. Okay. Basically, what happened was this. Da 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 da. He said going back to the scout ships that he sent out. He said, fortunately, the scout ships have enough of a lead time not to be in danger themselves. No, not the scout ships, but hold on, who did he send out? Okay, that's what happened. He sent the TIE fighters out. He said, let's see what we're dealing with. He sent 3 sentry ships to attack. They said, yes, sir. Across the room, he saw the 3 blue dots shift out of the central line and onto interceptor vectors. So basically, the 3 ships that he sent out were the 3 blue dots. From the corner of his eye, Pellaeon saw Thrawn lean forward in his seat as the frigates and the company X-Wings shifted in response. One of the blue dots winked out. In other words, they destroyed one of the ships. Excellent, Thrawn said, leaning back in his seat. He said, that will do, like he saw what he needed to see. He said, pull the other 2 back in order the Sector 4 line to scramble out of the invaders' vector. In other words, get the other people out of the way. Yes, sir, Shell said, sounded like, what the hell is this dude doing? Then Pellaeon, he could well understand, like, shouldn't we at least signal the rest of the fleet? And that's when Thrawn was like, the Death's Head could be here in 20 minutes. Most of the others in less than an hour. He said, the last thing we want to do right now is bring in more of our ships, Captain. Thrawn said. He looked up at Pellaeon, and a faint smile touched his lips. After all, there may be survivors, and we wouldn't want the rebellion learning about us, would we? He turned back to his displays. So he was like, man, I don't want to get into a fight with these guys. Some of these people escaped, and the rebellion learned, how many of us are really out here. He turned his back to his displays. Bridge, I want a 20-degree port yaw rotation. Bring us flat to the invaders' vector. Superstructure pointing at them as soon as they're within the outer perimeter. The Sector 4 sentry line is to reform behind them and jam all transmissions. Man, so basically he got them to where the sentry line is going to get behind the rebellion and block their communications. Yes, sir. Look, this was Shell said. Yes, sir. You don't have to this what Thrawn said. You don't have to understand, Lieutenant. Thrawn said, his voice abruptly cold. Just obey. So let me say that a little more plainly. So Shell was like, yes, sir. Thrawn was like, you don't have to understand, Lieutenant. His voice was abruptly cold. Just obey. Yes, sir. Pellaeon took a careful breath as the display showed the Chimeras rotating as per order. So the Chimera was rotating just like Thrawn said. Pellaeon said, I'm afraid I don't understand either, Admiral. He said, turning our superstructure toward them. What are we doing? Again, Thrawn stopped him with an upraised hand. Watch, and learn, Captain. That's fine, Bridge. Stop rotation and hold position here. drop docking bay, deflector shields, boost power to all others. TIE fighter squadrons, launch when ready, head directly away from the Chimera for 2 kilometers, then sweep around in open cluster formation, backfire speed, zonal attack pattern. He got an acknowledgement, then looked up at Pelion. Do you understand now, Captain? Let me say it in his voice. Do you understand now, Captain? Palion's pursed lips. I'm afraid not. He admitted, I see now that the reason you turned the ship was to give the fighters some exit cover. But the rest is nothing but a classic Mark Sable closure maneuver. They're not going to fall for anything that simple. On the contrary, Thrawn correctly. Okay. On the contrary, Thrawn corrected him coolly. Not only will they fall for it, they'll be utterly destroyed by it. Watch, Captain, and learn. Hold on, man. Let me read that sentence again. That's so badass. Listen to this. Listen to this, man. Listen to this. Listen to this. This funny. This funny. After he told them to turn around and let the TIE fighters out, and he told the TIE fighters to get into their Thrawn told the TIE fighters what formation to get in. He got an acknowledgement from everybody, and then he looked up at Pelion, the Captain Pelion. He said, "Do you understand now, Captain?" And Pelion was like, "I'm afraid I really don't." He said, "I see the reason you turned the ship was to give the fighter some exit cover, but the rest is just a classic Mark Sable closure maneuver. A Mark Sable closure maneuver. They're not going to fall for that. What are you doing?" On the contrary, not only will they fall for it, they'll be utterly destroyed by it. Watch, Captain, and learn. Man, that man came hard. Like, yeah, bro, they ain't only finna fall for this, they're finna be destroyed by this. The TIE fighters launched, accelerating away from the Chimera, and then leaning hard into the etheric rudders to sweep back around it like the spray of some exotic fountain. The invading ships spotted the attackers and shifted vectors. Pelion blinked. What in the Empire are they doing? This is funny, man. So let's read that again and see what they did. The TIE fighters launched like Thrawn wanted them to, accelerating away from the Star Destroyer, the Chimera. And then they leaned back hard into an etheric rudders to sweep back around it like the spray of an exotic fountain. So they went away from the Chimera and then they sweep back around it like an exotic fountain. The invading ships spotted the attackers, and they shifted their vectors. Pelion blinked like, wait a minute, what in the hell are they doing? Listen to Thrawn. They're trying the only defense they know of against the March Sable, Thrawn said, and there was no mistaking the satisfaction in his voice. I don't know when to stop his voice, so let me say it again. They're trying the only defense they know against a March Sable, Thrawn said, and there was no mistaking the satisfaction in his voice. Or, to be more precise, the only defense they are psychologically capable of attempting. He nodded toward the flashing sphere. You see, Captain, there's an alarm. Oh, you see, Captain, there's an Elam commanding the force. And Element simply cannot handle the unstructured attack profile of a properly executed March Sable. That is bad ass. Listen to that again. They're trying the only defense he said, this what Thrawn said. They're trying the only defense they know against a March Saber, Thrawn said. And there was no mistaking the satisfaction in his voice. Or to be more precise, the only defense they are psychologically capable of attempting. He nodded toward the flashing spear. You see, Captain? There's an Elam commanding that force. An Elaman simply cannot handle the unstructured attack profile of a properly executed March Sable. Pellaeon stared at the invaders, still shifting into their utterly useless defense stance. And slowly, it dawned on him what Thrawn had just done. That sentry ship attack a few minutes ago, he said. You were able to tell from that those were Element ships? Learn about art, Captain, Thrawn said, his voice almost dreamy. When you understand a species' art, you understand that species. He straightened in his chair. Bridge, bring us to flank speed. Prepare to join the attack. An hour later, it was all over. So according to Pellaeon, they should have went to light speed and ran, because there was no way they should have won. An hour later, thanks to Thrawn, it was all over. The ready room door slid shut behind the wing commander, and Pellaeon gazed back at the map still on display. Sounds like the Obra, this is Pellaeon. Sounds like the Obra Sky is a dead end, he said regretfully. There's no way we'll be able to spare the manpower that much pacification would cost. For now, perhaps Thrawn agreed, but only for now. Pellaeon frowned across the table at him. Thrawn was fiddling with the data card, rubbing it absently between finger and thumb as he stared out the viewport at the stars. A strange smile played about his lips. Admiral, he asked carefully. Thrawn turned his head, those glowing eyes coming to rest on Pellaeon. It's the second piece of the puzzle, Captain. Oh, no. It's the second piece of the puzzle, Captain, he said softly, holding up the data card. The piece I've been searching for now for over a year. Abruptly, he turned to the intercom, jabbed it on. Bridge, this is Grand Admiral Thrawn. Signal the Death's Head. Inform Captain Harbit we'll be temporarily leaving the fleet. He's to continue making tactical surveys of the local systems and pulling data dumps wherever possible. Then set course for a planet called Merkur. The nav computer has its location. The bridge acknowledged, and Thrawn turned back to Pellaeon. You seem lost, Captain, he suggested. I take it you've never heard of Merkur. Pellaeon shook his head, trying without success to read the Grand Admiral's expression. Should I have? He said. Probably not. Most of those who have been smugglers, malcontents, and otherwise useless dregs of the galaxy. He paused. I'm trying to figure out what they were going with it. He paused, taking a measured sip from the mug at his elbow. Okay. A strong, Forbish ale from the smell of it, and Pellaeon forced himself to remain silent. Whatever the Grand Admiral was going to tell him, he was obviously going to tell it in his own way and time. I ran across, here go the Admiral talking now. He said, I ran across an offhand reference to it some 7 years ago. he was talking about the planet Mercury. So let me read that all together because it got broke. So he told them to head towards Mercury. So let me read this all over again. The bridge acknowledged, and Thrawn turned back to Pellaeon, and he said to Pellaeon, "You seem lost, Captain," he suggested. "I take it you've never heard of Mercury." And Pellaeon shook his head, trying without success to read the Grand Admiral's expression. He like, "Should I have heard of it?" "Probably not. Most of those who have been smugglers, malcontents, and otherwise useless dregs of the galaxy." I guess that's what he's saying is on that planet. He paused. He taking a measured sip from the mug at his elbow. This was Thrawn. It was a strong 4-ish ale that he was drinking, and from the smell of it, that's what it was. Pellaeon forced himself to remain silent. I don't know whether he didn't like the smell or not. But he said whatever the Grand Admiral was going to tell him, he was obviously going to tell him in his own way and time. Then next, Grand Admiral said, "I ran across an offhand reference to it about 7 years ago." Thrawn continued, setting his mug back down. "What caught my attention was the fact that although the planet had been populated at least 300 years, both the Old Republic and the Jedi of that time had always left it strictly alone." He cocked one blue-black eyebrow slightly. "What would you infer from that, Captain?" Man, that's crazy. So Thrawn said this. I just want to go back over that statement. He said that planet Mercury had been populated for at least 300 years, but the Old Republic and the Jedi of that time had always left it strictly alone. "What would you infer from that, Captain?" So he asked Pellaeon, what you think about that? Why did they leave that planet alone? Pellaeon shrugged. "That it's a frontier planet, somewhere too far away for anyone to care about?" "Very good, Captain," said Thrawn. "That was my first assumption too, except that it's not. Mercury is, in fact, no more than 150 light years from here, close to our border with the rebellion and well within the Old Republic's boundaries." Thrawn dropped his eyes to the data card in his hand. "No, the actual explanation is far more interesting and far more useful." Pellaeon looked at the data card too, and that explanation became the first piece of this puzzle of yours. Hold on. Pellaeon looked at the data card too. And this was Thrawn talking again. He said, "And that explanation became the first piece of this puzzle of yours." Thrawn smiled at him. "Again, Captain." Oh, no. That was Pellaeon who was talking. So I got confused on that part. So let me read that all over again to make sure we straight. So Pellaeon, he thought that planet was, he said, "Man, that's a frontier planet, somewhere too far away for anybody to care about." And that's when Thrawn was like, "Very good, Captain. That was my first assumption too, except that it's not a frontier planet." He said, "Mercury is in fact no more than 150 light years away from here, close to our borders with the rebellion and well within the Old Republic's boundaries." Thrawn dropped his eyes to the data card still in his hand. "No, the actual explanation is far more interesting and far more useful." Pellaeon looked at the data card too, and that's when Pellaeon said, "And that explanation became the first piece of this puzzle of yours." He was asking the question. He said, "And that explanation became the first piece of this puzzle of yours?" Thrawn smiled at him. "Again, Captain. Very good. Yes, Mercury, or more precisely, one of its indigenous animals, was the first piece of the puzzle. The second is on a world called Wayland." He waved the data card. "A world for which, thanks to the Oberons, I finally have locations." "I congratulate you," Pellaeon said, suddenly tired of this game. So he was sick of playing the game with Thrawn. He just want to know what's happening. He said, "My ass, just what exactly this puzzle is?" Thrawn smiled, a smile that sent a shiver up Palian's back. Why? The only puzzle worth solving, of course, the Grand Admiral said softly. The complete, total, and utter destruction of the rebellion. Oh man, let me read that again. Palian said this. I congratulate you, Palian said, suddenly tired of the game. May I ask just what exactly this puzzle is that you speak of? And Thrawn smiled at him, a smile that sent a shiver up Palian's back. Why? The only puzzle worth solving, of course, the Grand Admiral said softly. The complete, total, and utter destruction of the rebellion. Man, and that's how the first chapter is, man. I can't lie. It's just hilarious, man. Hilarious. A great first chapter. You know, I promise you, I had fun reading it. I know I messed up a few times. Honestly, I don't know how you guys heard it, whether you was able to follow it and enjoy it, like I was able to follow it and read it. I'm going to be honest with you. When you're reading totally by yourself, I was able to go into a little bit of a different imaginative zone when I'm totally by myself, as opposed to reading it like that. But I still was seeing it in my head, and I'm hoping you guys were able to see some of it. So that was the first chapter in Timothy Zahn's first book. When I look back at it, I see how good I did at reading it. I know I got a lot of work to do, because the good thing about Timothy Zahn's book that's better than the other Star Wars books is he does a great way of having the characters speak to one another. It's so clear. Now, I didn't do a great job at reading their roles, because this is my first time actually reading that type of form out loud. And sometimes I was getting caught off guard of when those little conversations would take place. So sometimes I'd be reading along, as you might have noticed, before I was like, okay, I'm supposed to be doing a voice here, or there's some interactions going on right here. It's just not a straight read. But man, that guy's a great author. And man, that was fun. I could really keep going on and on because it's such a great story. But as you can see, Thrawn, they should have lost. But by him being a master tactician, and you will see more and more that in that series, by him being such a master tactician, he can damn near get out of any type of trouble. He can damn near get out of anything. They were supposed to die, but he figured a way out of it very easily, because he found out who was controlling the enemy ships just based off of the maneuvers they did when he sent the test ship out there, a scout ship out there. So that's the type of genius of Grand Admiral Thrawn. So with all that said, man, we've done a little bit of everything tonight. First of all, we took care of dream waves. We talked about what that was to me. Talked about how the Stepford Wives just sparked the whole conversation of dream waves, and how putting dreams out in the environment can really spark you, or it will spark somewhere else. It'll travel through time until it becomes true, or until somebody's motivated to make that particular dream come true. And that's why I said, man, in that way, dream waves are better than light waves or sound waves. So that was the first thing. And then I talked a little bit about sports, and actually talked a little bit about basketball, soccer, and UFC, about what was going on this weekend. I think we talked a little bit about anime. Yeah, we talked a little bit about anime because I was talking about One Piece. I talked about, I might check out an episode of that when I get out of here. King and Ashura, because it's actually a series I've been wanting to catch up. I mean, I've been wanting to come out with the third season. And on Netflix, you never know whether a series is over or whether it's going to continue, until one day out the blue that you'll get an announcement of, okay, the series is going to continue. So King and Ashura, I was hoping that it was going to continue, and it is. So I'm going to check that a little bit of that out after I get after we close out this live stream. So we talked a little bit about anime and things of that nature, and then I talked about Star Wars, and I said, you know what? Let me read a chapter out of one of my books. And I'm gonna be honest, guys. I don't know how choppy or whatever it was. I really don't. But after I look at it and examine uh, this live stream and see how the reading went, I will see where I need to improve it and make it more and make it to where you can understand the story a little bit more. So when I look back at it, I'm gonna do all those examinations and see where we lie, because it was definitely fun as the reader. But I do hope that you were able to get an idea of the genius of Grand Admiral Thrawn. I really hope you got at least an idea of that from what I read. So with all this said, man, it's been a hell of a time. It's been fun. I do think that we're getting ready to exit stage left. It's been a hell of a time. I don't think we really had. I appreciate you guys that are in here that have been standing around with me, just chilling with me. And anybody that looks at this tomorrow, man, I hope you enjoy this stream. I hope it entertains you with whatever you're doing tomorrow. You may be at a doctor's office, or you may be waiting in line somewhere, and you can turn this stream on and enjoy it for a while. But it's been a fun one for us. We talked about a hell of a lot of different topics. And whenever I do some super extended stream, it's going to be a combination of a lot of things. And I'm glad I got a chance to experiment with that tonight. But we want you guys to have an amazing, amazing weekend. Be safe out there. We're praying for anybody that gets a view or earshot of this stream to be blessed with abundance coming into their life very, very soon, whether it be financially, health-wise, or whether it be relationship-wise. Whatever you're looking for, we hope you find it. So with all that said, we're finna get ready to check the hell out. It's been a hell of a good time. Been me, Jada King Health. Oh, if you're not subscribed, we really love for you to hit those subscriptions and notifications as well. So we really love that. But with all that said, it's been your boy, Jada King Hefner, and the beautiful Saima Renee Uzumaki. We are out. Check you guys later, man.